What's up, everybody? It's the Cenobites back to Raise Some Hell, and I'm really excited to talk about this movie today because we're talking about the prequel to Scooby-Doo.
I mean, kind of.
I Know What You Did Last Summer from 1997. I'm Dusty Lane.
I'm Jason Mitchell.
And we are the Cenobites.
What are you waiting for?
Hello?
I came for you. We have such sights to show you.
It was an excellent day for an exorcism.
I said, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains in.
I want to play a game.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was. This is God.
We all go a little mad sometimes. Haven't you?
But sometimes that is better.
I've never fucking seen Scooby-Doo, so I didn't catch it. I was like, what are you fucking talking about?
Welcome back to Oblivion, everyone. Once again, we're talking about I Know What You Did Last Summer, which is a super long fucking title. And the further this franchise goes, the less those titles make sense. Especially this newest one they're about to release. But directed by Jim Gillespie, who I wasn't super familiar with other than this. I don't think he's got a ton out there, does he?
Yeah, there's not really much. I mean, we got this movie. We got a movie called Detox from 2002. We got Venom from 2005.
Venom.
Which is, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
You know, the Spider-Man universe shit, you know.
Mhm.
And then something else called Takedown from 2016. So he's not very active, but
Okay.
started a franchise, I guess, right?
Well, I will say Jennifer Love Hewitt claimed that this is her favorite director she's ever worked with, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
Screenplay on this written by Kevin Williamson, who also wrote Scream, of course, famously.
Oh, dude, no wonder.
And something that's kind of crazy that I always thought when I was growing up that the names of all these characters were kind of odd. Like we've got Ray, Julie, Barry, Helen, and I always thought that was a little bit goofy, but turns out this movie is based loosely on a 1973 novel of the same name by Lois Duncan. So that explains the old-timey names, but wow, crazy to discover this story/franchise is 52 years in the making now.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I don't know. I guess it makes sense. Most things come from a book first, you know,
Right.
but why isn't that more common knowledge?
Yeah.
You know, should have put that on the fucking poster, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. This movie brought to you by Mandalay Entertainment, distributed by Columbia Pictures. Rated R, but fuck if I can tell you why. There's not really a whole lot going on. There's no nudity in this. There's not really that much crazy language. I mean, there is, but there's like barely any violence or blood. Like, what do we? How do we even rate this? This should have been PG-13.
It's from Ryan Felipe fucking yelling for 90 minutes.
Pretty much, yeah. Half the fucks in this movie are out of Barry's mouth. Runtime of 101 minutes. We are set in Southport, North Carolina. And the plot on this one is, hey, Scream was pretty big last year. How can we pull a Friday the 13th, do exactly what they did to Halloween, and just ride that wave to make ourselves some money? Even though what we turn in is kind of a dime store version of it. I mean, the plot is 4 high school students forever tied by a tragic car accident come back together when they find themselves being targeted by a crazy hooker, a crazy man with a hook, in their cozy little seaside village here.
I can't believe this is North Carolina. This does not look like North fucking Carolina, dude.
Some of it is not, and we'll get into a little bit, but some of the scenes, like all the coastal shots and everything, were filmed in California.
I was going to say, yeah, for sure.
Our cast list here, we've got Julie James, played by Jennifer Love Hewitt, and I think her first major role. She was just 18 when she filmed this. Yes. Helen Shivers, played by Sarah Michelle Gellar, which this movie came out the same year as Buffy started, like her role in the Buffy series, and Scream 2. So this was a huge year for her.
Right. Wow.
Ray Bronson, played by Freddie Prinze Jr., just sucking it up in this movie, in my opinion, man. I just can't buy into half of what his character's doing in this.
You don't do dick, really.
Not really, no.
But
Barry Cox, played by Ryan Felipe, who was supposed to be like a tough guy. Cox. Okay. Supposed to be a tough guy, but he was actually smaller. Like his audition got him the role. But he's supposed to be this like big, intimidating bully jock guy. But it's funny watching him in the scenes where like Freddie Prinze Jr. is just towering over him and he's like knocking him out and shit. It's kind of silly.
Right.
We've got Max Nurek, played by Johnny Galecki from Roseanne and Big Bang Theory.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, man.
It's a little kid.
Yeah, in Roseanne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Melissa Missy Egan, played by Anne Heche. Elsa Shivers, played by Veronica Vaughn.
Oh, Veronica Vaughn.
Oh, Veronica Vaughn. Bridget Wilson, I always knew her as, but I looked up on IMDb. It's Bridget Wilson Sampras now. She fucking married Pete Sampras.
Sampras.
And then rounding out our cast here, we've got Benjamin Ben Willis, played by the guy that's got the coolest name in this movie by far, Muse Watson. And he's Ben Willis / The Fisherman.
Okay.
Spoilers.
The Fisherman.
Cinematography in this done by, I'm not sure if it's like Dennis Crossnet or if it's like Denis or something. I'm not sure, but I think that's probably one of the best parts of this movie is the cinematography. We'll get into it.
Yeah.
But the score done by John Debney, which I wasn't really overly impressed with, but it's doing its job in this, you know?
I just remember the opening.
Oh, the opening music?
As far as the music from the movie, I don't really...
We'll fucking talk about that in a second, too.
I was distracted by the terrible fucking acting to notice any score.
I wrote a tagline down. There's a few different ones they used for this, but my favorite was, "Not all secrets stay buried." Even though I wish it was, "What are you waiting for? Get to the theater!"
Buried. Should have had something to do with the fucking water.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah. So producer Eric Feig asked Kevin Williamson to adapt the 1973 novel, but unlike his meta approach to Scream a year earlier, this time he opted to go for a more straightforward 80s slasher style, also drawing inspiration from things like Prom Night in 1980, The House on Sorority Row in 1982, and the popular urban legend often told around the campfire, The Hook, that I'm sure we're all familiar with.
Yep.
And they do, in fact, tell that story in this movie.
Right.
Let's get into it. We begin with a nice little nature documentary where we're tracking a target through the jungle.
Dude, I thought I hit the wrong fucking movie. I was like, dude, is this like one of the fucking cannibal movies? Just for a split second.
Right. No, it turns out it's just a production graphic for Mandalay Entertainment. That's always been one of my favorite ones, though. It's kind of a cool one.
I feel like I don't see it very often.
And we open on like a Shining style like helicopter shot over the water, this gorgeous little bay area. And then over this is Typo Negative's cover of Summer Breeze, along with the opening credits, because this movie's so fucking metal. There you go, Jason. Were you digging that? You were just talking about the music.
It's super fucking 90s,
That's fucking trash. Trash.
Typo Negative is Typo Negative. I'm not going to say I don't like them, but...
Makes me
feel dude, if anything, this should have been the opening for a vampire movie. That's what Typo is.
That does seem like that's got to be their niche, Like, that's the only thing that you can include their music in.
Yeah, it definitely is. I thought it was really cool seeing these scenes, knowing that this was pre-drone era,
Yeah.
and seeing these shots.
Well, they did it with fucking helicopters before then.
Which means it's a lot more expensive and costly to get
yeah.
shots like this for a movie versus now to where, you could go do it somewhere with a $300 drone.
Not all tech and AI is bad.
Right.
Let's just not get fucking crazy with it. But yeah, this is supposedly a fishing village in North Carolina, but these scenes were all shot in Sonoma County, California. Colmer Gulch, I believe it was called, for these coastline shots, which is also where they filmed some of the shots in the birds. That's pretty cool.
Okay. I kind of felt like we were watching Too Fast, Too Furious.
Too fast for y'all, mate.
As soon as the typo cuts out, we get a panning shot of this curve, which is very important to the movie. But the music doesn't sound like a fucking horror movie here. It gets kind of...
really.
Like I said, it's almost like, dude, a fucking street racing car is about to zip around that around the fucking corner.
Well, I don't know about like an action movie, but this is barely a fucking horror movie.
Right.
We'll get into it, but yeah, we circle around Reaper's Curve here and zoom in on John Mayer's non-musically gifted cousin. Just like this dude in overalls sitting on a cliff, holding a trinket of some kind. He's drinking and clearly contemplating checking out early here.
Hell yeah.
But he hears something shifting behind him, and we cut away from that. He looks up at some fireworks, and then we end up joining our main group at the town's 4th of July celebration, the 47th annual Croaker Festival, which, what the fuck is a croaker?
I don't know.
But apparently it's also a beauty pageant. That's a weird combo.
I agree. Very strange.
There's this terrible town band playing, like, marching band. And there's a creep of an announcer here that's like the MC of the beauty pageant. He's like, oh, that's the prettiest girl I ever did see. Yeah, I don't think we ever had somebody so pretty in one of our competitions. Hey, man, keep it in your pants, buddy.
Yeah, it's a kid.
But he brings the 6 finalists on stage, Sarah Michelle Gellar being number 3. And she looks up to see her friends in the balcony cheering her on. We got Julie, Ray, and Barry all up there clapping over these people in fucking fish hats all over the place. That's pretty fun. Julie looks down and she was like, oh my God, look at her. She was born for this. And fucking Ray goes, I had no idea her breasts were so ample.
Yeah, dude.
Like, why are you fucking commenting on your buddy's girlfriend's breasts in front of your buddy and your girlfriend?
He's just admiring her. You know?
I fucking guess, man. Which, there's some weird, like, oh, hey, I'll watch out for your girl if you watch out for mine stuff going on. So I think this is like a weird little poly couple going on here. But Barry's like, oh, hey, man, she does exercises to pump up her breasts. Which we should have got a cutscene of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man. Fuck yeah.
But of course it's 1997, so Julie's like, hey, kill the commentary. I'm on sexist overload as it is. This is the beginning of the woke nightmare that all the Trumpsters are going through right now. But
grab her by the pussy.
This MC is like, so in the spirit of Mother Teresa, what will be your contribution to your community and the world at large? What the fuck does Mother Teresa have to do with any of this?
Yeah, this town's weird, man.
Is this a weird like pageant thing that I don't know because I'm not about that life?
Dusty, you need to brush up on your pageant lingo.
I don't think I do.
Yeah.
But he asks her this question and she like rips the mic out of his hand and she's like, well, Bob, I plan to move to New York City to pursue a career as a serious actress. It's my goal to entertain the world through artistic expression. Through art, I shall serve my country. And fucking Freddie Prinze Jr. is less than impressed. He turns over to Jennifer Love Hewitt and he's like, did you feed her this shit? Like, what the fuck?
Right on cue.
But of course, Helen wins the competition. She gets a big bouquet and an obnoxious fucking crown that she insists on wearing the rest of the night. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, all of this is fucking weird. Okay, so we got it all laid out that they're kids still. In high school still.
Yeah, graduating.
They're graduating.
I think they just graduated.
Right. But then, like, okay, so next scene we break into, like, a party at the fucking beach, which doesn't seem like a kid party to me. It seems like they're at the fucking bar, kind of.
Well, the thing is, it's the 4th of July celebration, so the whole town is out. And this is, like, the party at the docks or whatever with, like, we got a live band with a chick bass player. It looks like a great fucking time, actually. I'd like to be at this party.
So the party on the beach is a fucking rager. You know, I guess growing up in a small town, we never saw parties like this. You know, this looks fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You know, definitely like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people.
Right.
This is where we kind of bump into Helen's sister. Oh, Veronica Vaughn.
Yeah.
And we also meet Max in the scene. Max slides in and he's kind of got a thing for Julie.
Yeah, man.
But this is what I wanted to talk about is if they're all kids and Max is like working here or something. Max has a shot for Julie though.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, it's a little weird. I want to comment real quick before we get like too much further. Helen, like when they're walking through this party, Helen asks Julie how her hair is. And that's a recurring theme in this movie, showing Helen's fixation on aesthetic beauty as opposed to moral character. And Julie's like, it's hurricane proof, which is funny for what the next movie brings us. But she's like, it's all about the hair. Don't forget that when you're a hotshot lawyer. Those professional types think it's about brains and ability, but they completely ignore the do. She's like, the do is vital. Got it.
The do.
But do you got it, Jason? Vital. The do is vital, which I think means we're just both fucked.
Yeah.
But
hair?
We also see here how vital the cleavage is throughout this film, which was J-Love's calling card, even though she was only 18 filming this. And her and Sarah Michelle Gellar in this scene, though, both low-cut tops, and the camera do be a lingering. Like this whole fucking movie. It's their claim to fame. But yeah, then out of nowhere, fucking Veronica Vaughn walks back into my life. And this is Helen's sister Elsa, and she's asking if she's riding home with her. And Sarah Michelle Gellar's like, nah, I got other plans. And she goes, oh, is the Croaker Queen getting sauteed tonight? Which, is she talking about drinking or fucking? Helen fires back at her. She's like, oh, a twit with a wit. And she's like, eat me. Yeah, eat shit and live, Bill. But then, yeah, Johnny Galecki walks up. Apparently he works at this place wearing his little waiter shirt. and he brought Julie a shot on the house. I don't think the boss man would fucking like that. Who's paying for this shit, man?
I mean, that's pretty common around the fucking country, you know. But like I
Yeah.
said with them,
He's got other motives.
if they're both fucking seniors, he isn't serving alcohol anyways. He ain't old enough to touch it.
That's a
you
good
know?
point.
So that's where I was saying, like, it just kind of, they don't look like they're kids to me.
Yeah.
They're in this pageant that's supposed to be, you know, their kids, and then now they're at the fucking bar, and then they're driving around with which, hey, kids did that, but it just it confused me for how
they
they're
can
really
get a
supposed to
hold of
be.
liquor, but like not likely in an establishment like this. Like he's fucking like sneaking under the radar doing it. And I don't know what it is that he brought her, but it looks like a Bloody Mary sort of a thing. So that's a weird shot. But she tells him, "Oh, thanks, but I have this mental block and I can't get past the slime. So I'll bet you this thing has some sort of fish element in this fucking seafood town."
You, dude.
You know how those kinds of places, like everything has to involve fish somehow. Traverse City, for example, is like cherry stuff all over the place. We got cherry jam and cherry jelly and cherry marmalade and cherry barbecue sauce and cherry
Bubba.
mustard and cherry ketchup and just plain cherries and fucking. But yeah, we see Max desperately trying to get in Julie's good graces and failing fucking miserably. And Helen walks up to watch. He's like, "How about I take you out before you leave town?" But she's not into it. And he goes, "We've been friends forever. You can't just leave without a farewell." Like, is he trying to come on to her? Like,
let me get a little bit before you dip out.
right. But then Barry steps up right in front of him, grabs the shot, and turns to block out Max, like, out of the circle. And he's like, "A toast to us, to our last summer of immature adolescent decadence." And he slams the shot. Max starts inching his way back in, and Barry pushes him. He's like, "Yo, chumbate, take a hike." So it's like, there's a comment from Sarah Michelle Gellar where she's like, "Oh, somebody's buzzed." So, yeah, these 18-year-old kids are just freely drinking on this dock. It's weird.
I mean, not that I fucking did it all over the place too.
Sure,
but like
but I
I said,
mean-
it's confusing for the fucking movie. For
It
me,
is. It is,
anyway.
for sure.
But yeah, it's hard to tell. It kind of makes you forget that these kids are headed to college and not in college.
Right. Even when they get to college, they're still not old enough.
Right.
But Max stands back up and comes after Barry, and Johnny Galecki as a tough guy is hilarious. But equally interesting is the Ryan Philippe as the jock thing, being, you know, a smaller guy. Some of the scenes are just like a little funny when he's the guy strong-arming everyone as opposed to like Freddie Prinze Jr.
I feel like it would,
Which also wouldn't have worked.
It would have been an easy fix. They should have just put some more clothes on him, made him look a
Bulk
little
him
bit,
up a little bit.
make him look a little bigger.
I suppose,
you know what I mean?
yeah. Or at least fucking like do a workout regimen or something, tone him up.
Right. Well, and they try to throw this in later. They show him at the gym and whatever. But yeah, he's just
Not there yet.
right.
He's still a fucking child.
Maybe they
essentially.
rushed into this movie. He needed some time to bulk up. You know.
Right. But Ray runs in and separates him. Barry says he was just keeping an eye on Ray's girl like he promised, which, like we said, what the fuck is that about? Did they have a conversation prior to this party like, "Hey man, if anybody, and I mean anybody, starts making any moves on J-Love, I'm gonna need you to kill him, all right?"
I mean, it definitely comes off strange, but I feel like we used to do that when we used to go out. You know, a group of us would go out to the bar or to the club or something, and it was kind of like, hey.
You'd watch out for each other for
Right.
sure, but like, it's
but
just,
as far as
it's on a weird level here, I feel
Yeah.
like.
the fact that Ray wasn't pissed is what it was, you know.
Yeah. But Helen's like, "Hey, I have a good idea. Let's go down to," you ready for this?
Dawson's Beach.
Dawson's
Not
Beach.
the creek?
No, it's named due to Dawson's Creek, which Kevin Williamson also created. And some
Wow.
of the scenes in this were filmed at the same location as well. Little on the nose, Kevin, but no big deal. Like, why shouldn't it be called Dawson's Beach, I guess? This random place in North Carolina. That's fine. But these kids take a little joyride down there in Barry's car, hauling ass around these curves like complete morons.
Yeah, do that curve again. That curve keeps popping up throughout the movie.
Oh, yeah. And we cut to the beach where they all sit around a fire telling different variations of the Hook urban legend, which is probably another movie we should cover sometime soon to round out our trio of late 90s meta slashers. Speaking of Dawson's Creek and fucking Joshua Jackson. But our set here is amazing. Cozy little spot on the beach with a half a boat leaned up on the shore like a shipwreck. Apparently the production crew went out and got this from a place up the road in Bodega Bay.
Nice.
And these kids can't agree how this story goes. Ray says there's a boy and a girl making out in a car. They hear on the radio that a lunatic has escaped from the asylum and he's got a hook for a hand. The girl gets scared and wants to go home, and the guy gets pissed and peeled out. And Barry interrupts him twice during this. He's like, "Shush!" and says the boy goes for help. Okay, why? Like, they didn't have any reason at that point to feel they were in any danger. So, like, why would that be the story? Fucking take it easy on the booze, Leahy. But
Little drinky poo.
he says the girl he is scratching on the roof of the car, and Helen's like, no. It wasn't a scratching sound. It was a drip, drip, drip. No, it's scratching because the boy's hung from a tree limb and his feet are scratching on the roof of the car. No, he's been decapitated and it's the blood from his severed neck. Finally, Julie speaks up and she's like, no, he wasn't decapitated. He was gutted with the hook. That's how I heard it anyway.
It was a hook.
Yeah. And Ray's like, you guys are all idiots. You're all wrong. Now look, I'm telling the story and I'm telling you, they get back to the girl's house and find the bloody hook in the car door.
Spoopy.
Barry's like, all right, well, either way, it didn't really happen. It's a bullshit ghost story. And fucking Ray's like, no, it's true.
Yeah.
And they all disagree, including Julie, who says it's a story created to warn young girls about the dangers of premarital sex. And he goes, well, actually, honey, and you know how terrified I am of your IQ. It's an urban legend, American folklore. Dun. He's like, they all usually originate from some sort of real-life incident. And then, as they're sitting here taking in the spoopiness, suddenly Ray starts turning into a monster. His scalp moves back on his head, starts to peel away from his face. Ah! Oh my God, run! Oh no, it's just that weird thing that happens to people when their expression changes and their ears lower and shit, and their fucking scalp moves back. It's so fucking weird. His head, the whole top of his head moves back like a full inch. It's crazy.
What
the fuck? Sarah Michelle Gellar dances around on the beach with a sparkler, talking about her 5-year plan of her being on the soap opera Guiding Light. And Barry will be starting quarterback in the NFL, and she says Steelers, he says Cowboys. I'm guessing it'll be neither. But she crawls on top of him and tells him they'll elope to Europe or the Caymans, and she rips open her jacket, which is actually his jacket, which is also something that comes into play later. And she says she'll let him impregnate her with the first of their 3 children, and he gives her a little hump, and she continues, before you head off to rehab. What the fuck? For what? Like, she's just assuming he's already an alcoholic, he's going to continue to be?
That's just the life of a pro athlete, Dusty.
I fucking suppose, man. Not always.
Yeah, you will become first string athlete. We will make a little family and we'll send you off to rehab.
She's like, well, and then we'll live happily, blah, blah, blah. All right, look. First of all, you just grossed me out by using the word impregnate. Deal's off. That's not sexy talk.
Sounds nice to me.
And second, planning out one's life so meticulously, no thanks, dude. Like, she's going to be a nightmare. Total bridezilla. And probably another insufferable pageant mom. Those people are fucking disgusting. Like, why would you want to sexualize and exploit your child like that? I don't know. But meanwhile, Julie wanders around the beach looking for Ray, and he sneaks up behind her and screams he's going to hook her. Yeah, are ya?
Yes.
And she says, oh, come on. And that's a made-up story, and the hook is a phallic symbol. God, I'm going to miss you. And he goes, well, hey, don't go to Boston. Come to New York with me. And it's never really specified why he's going to New York. But yeah, fuck your plans, Julie, person who actually has one. Ditch that shit so we can stay together.
Duh.
She says, I hate this. You're going to go off and fall for some head-shaven, black-wearing, tattoo-covered, body-piercing philosophy student.
Gonna find a goth chick, dude?
Fucking what, dude?
Punk
That's so
chick?
oddly specific. And I think you're way off the mark on his tastes. He is currently dating you. He's like, listen, the success rate of high school sweetheart relationships is higher than any other type. And speaking of phallic symbols, she starts stripping down. Whoa. And yeah, you were just talking about how hard this is going to be when you go off and live your separate lives after high school. Yeah, let's make it exponentially harder by taking each other's virginity on this beach first. Great call. P.S. Have fun trying to get all that sand out of your naughty bits. But we pan across this tranquil beach setting for a second. It's pretty nice watching the waves crash for a minute. By the way, these two have had sex now. Pretty sure that's what Barry and Helen were just doing too. Sounds to me like this new sequel shouldn't even be happening because according to your precious horror movie rules, Kevin Williamson, they should all be fucking dead. But back at the car, Helen's trying to convince Barry to give her his keys, which, yeah, he should not be driving. He's all like, oh, nobody drives my car but me. And she's like, I know, but the Croaker Queen needs to get home. And she throws Ray the keys, and Barry gets all pissed off. How many people did you know like that in high school? Like, don't touch the fucking car, man. Like,
I mean,
super shitty to their girlfriend all the time.
If I ever get a cool car, I'd probably be like that, but I always got a fucking beater, so, you know? Like, if I had a fucking BMW like Barry, I don't know, maybe.
No.
Got a little race car type situation going on, maybe, you know?
I mean, okay, but, like, you're fucking plastered. You're driving 3 of your friends. Like,
oh, no, agreed.
Just let the fucking dude drive. He hasn't had a drop, apparently.
And I guess, I don't know, it's a nice car. It's not a race car.
It's a fine car.
If it's a race car, you wouldn't be driving it as your daily. So,
right, yeah.
Yeah, it's Shut up, Barry.
But Helen's like, hey, come to the back seat with me. I'll let you do things to me. Oh, shit.
Sick, dude.
And they drive off with Julie staring like a creep at Ray, and all kinds of nonsense happening in the back with Barry's drunk ass. But he leans up to tell Ray he can't drive for shit. Cool, man. Just keep sipping on that bottle. But that's when Barry gets tired of the bullshit on the radio and changes it to some rock, shoots up out of the sunroof because fucking YOLO.
Hell yeah, dude. He's partying.
They round this curve up on the cliffside with the tires screeching, even though it doesn't really look like they're going that fast. But Barry takes another drink and drops the bottle onto Ray while he's driving. And out of nowhere, this random dude comes rocketing up onto over the hood, over the car, steamrolling over Barry hanging out of the sunroof. And he just kind of rides the car like a mechanical bull for a second until Ray fishtails it around and brings it to a stop. It's a pretty cool sequence, pretty well shot, I think.
Freddie Prinze Jr.'s face as he hits this guy is pretty fucking funny.
Yeah. Speaking of sick shots, though, there's another really good one where this crane comes down, like, it's looking at the top of the car as Barry, like, kind of slinks back down into it. And then it swoops down and comes to a rest in front of the car to join the rest of the group. I think that was really well done. Like I said, I think the cinematography in this movie is the one thing that definitely holds up for sure.
Right.
But Helen notices Barry's bleeding, and he says it's not his blood, and Ray thinks it must have been a dog, but the damage to Barry's car, which he's super pissed about, looks like it would have to be something bigger than a dog. So a deer, maybe? They're trying to figure it out.
There's no fucking deer out here, dude. Would it run from the fucking ocean?
I wouldn't think so, you know?
Jumped up 100-foot cliffside.
Yeah, goats, maybe. I don't know about deer.
Upon further investigation, which took about 4 fucking seconds here, Julie picks up a rubber boot, and we find out why she's the star of this fucking movie. She is a fucking scream queen.
Oh, yeah, it's
Every
good.
time she screams in this, it is fucking... It's like curdling, you know?
But I will say Sarah Michelle holds her own, too. She's really good.
Right.
Yeah, Barry tells Ray, what the fuck, man? You can't see that shit? Oh, I'm sorry. I was a little bit busy being doused in cheap booze at the time. You could have toned your bullshit down and we would have been okay.
Yeah, dude, he dropped the bottle right on his dick, too, you know? So it's like... Barry pops the trunk, you know, has the flashlight here, and it's just, you can tell that the fucking scene is not a bad scene, but it's just terrible fucking acting here. It's distracting to me.
It's not great deliveries. It's not really sensible. Like, none of these kids are really in their right minds right now because they're fucking freaking out about what's going on. So I guess I can forgive a little bit of it. But yeah, she picks this boot up, and after getting her fucking fingerprints all over it, she gets the willies all of a sudden and tosses it. After this sequence plays out, let's come back to that for a second because that's more evidence in this case, right? Somebody else had to find that bloody boot eventually. I don't think they tossed it along with the body, did they?
I don't know. Did they pick it up?
I'm not sure. But yeah, they grab the flashlights. They go hunting around.
Yeah, another 4 seconds. And
Right.
They find the body.
Yeah. They finally find one laying on the side of the road, and they make Ray go check its pulse. He's like, yeah, no fucking thanks. I feel like they should make Helen do it so she can get some inspirational ammo for acting. Maybe things would have worked out better for her in New York if she did that. But Ray kneels down next to this body, and it ain't looking good. This dude's face is all bloody.
Yeah.
And Julie says they need to call the cops and get an ambulance. All right, not so fast. Let's think about this for a second. Helen goes to run off, and Barry's like, whoa, get back here. This guy's dead already. No need to be hasty. And his argument is if they call the cops, they're fucked too, which J-Love disagrees, of course. She goes, look, it was an accident. Dude was crossing the road in the middle of the night. Ray wasn't drinking or speeding, but that's not what it fucking smells like.
Yeah, for sure. Pretty much that it's going to get pinned on Barry anyways. They're never going to believe that Barry wasn't driving.
Right.
Barry's liquored up.
It's his car.
Right.
Bottom line, they're all kind of panicking here. No one's thinking completely clearly, especially Barry. And Ray, because he just got done taking his first life. Accident or not, that's going to fuck you up.
Oh, yeah.
I think in this instance, Julie is right. They should have just called the cops and avoided all the rest of this nonsense this ends up facilitating. Years of trauma and grief and torture because they try to cover it up, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. They should have called the cops.
But Barry's like, look, dude, it's my car. They're going to nail my ass. And Ray pipes in with... He's like, it's manslaughter. We're going to fry no matter who takes the fall. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, I guarantee at the very least, Julie and Helen would be fine. Like, you're freaking out. Just take a breath. It's cool. Just relax a little.
It is not cool, Dusty.
But Barry's like, look, dude, let's just leave. But his car's all fucked up and there's blood everywhere. But he's like, oh, it's all right. We can clean it up. But I don't know, dude. There's like a big-ass dent, fucking blood everywhere. That's going to take a minute.
They'll trace it back. You touch the body. You touch the fucking boot.
Yeah.
You know, regardless. Barry's got the idea of, you know, why don't we just dump the body? Easy peasy, man. Currents are strong, you know?
Yeah, I love his fucking delivery, though, when Julie's like, no, we have to go to the police. And Barry screams at her. He's like, we don't have time for your shit.
Agreed.
She looks at him like, Jesus, psycho, okay, let's just dump it. And Barry's like, we can throw him over the cliff. They wouldn't find him for weeks. By then, the evidence will be washed away. That doesn't turn out exactly how we'd like it to, unfortunately.
Right.
But Ray says, hey, they might not find the body at all. The undertow, the currents are strong. Could carry him out to sea.
Could.
Little serial killers in training.
Definitely could.
But he also says, look, Julie, I'm scared. I'm not a little rich boy like the rest of you. And Barry chimes in, trying to convince Julie her future's fucked if they get found out. College scholarship's all gone. The guy's already dead. If we go to the police, we're dead too.
Kinda.
And just then we get some tires squealing in the distance and some headlights approach. And oh, fuck, it's the fuzz. That's exactly what they need right now.
It's not the fuzz. It's Max.
Ray and Barry try to hurry up and move the body across the road. And Helen's like, oh shit, they're slowing down. Yeah, your car's parked in the middle of the road. Of course they are. But that's good news because it gives Ray and Barry a little extra time. And it turns out, yeah, it's just Max from the docks. And his pickup slowly approaches, and Julie intercepts it. Max asks if she's having car trouble, and she's like, oh, no, it's just Barry. He had a little too much to drink. And the shot cuts over to the guardrail, where he's leaned over the side of it, pretending to puke. Mm-hmm. Pretty good cover, actually.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're smart. Sometimes.
She says they're trying to keep the upchuck out of the new car, but Max looks at it and says, damn, it doesn't look so new anymore. Daddy's going to be mad.
Yeah, so, we got a fucking witness.
Yeah.
Kind of.
She's like, yeah, the car's fucked. Don't drink and drive. And Ray walks up and he's like, hey, what can I do for you, Max? Back to fucking tough guy Johnny Galecki. He's like, you can wipe that my shit don't stink grin off your face. You almost got the rich boy act down, Ray.
Yeah. What the fuck?
And he drives past Barry and Helen, and Barry immediately stands up, covered in blood. I think I might have given it another second or two.
Right.
Like, he can still see you in his mirror, dude. But our quartet ends up driving down to the docks after having stuffed this apparent corpse into the trunk. Ew, dude. What happened to the dump him off the cliff idea? That sounded much better.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I don't know.
Either way, instead they walk this guy's body down to the pier, and as they do, Barry's like, well, even if the body does wash back to shore in the next few weeks, it'll be eaten by crabs and small fish. Fuck, maybe we'll even get lucky and there'll be a shark.
You're an idiot, Barry. I mean, it's possible, but...
But the spot you're dumping him in, I don't know if he's going to float anywhere except around the fucking marina. Right. Like, just pinballing off of boats and docks and shit. Like, They don't fucking, like, they don't put any distance between him and the shore whatsoever.
Right.
But there's a quick shot of a sick anchor tattoo on this dude's arm here.
Yep.
Julie wants to check his wallet to see who he is, and Barry can't understand why. And she's like, oh, just to know.
Just in case, something comes up later.
Yeah, just in case next year somebody's sending us notes and we got to figure out.
Right. This movie would have been so quick.
But Helen says she doesn't want to know. And I thought it was interesting how much she flip-flops back and forth between everybody's arguments. Julie's like, call the cops. She's like, okay. And then Barry's like, let's dump him over the side. And she's like, yeah, Julie, we can pretend we were never here. Like, she keeps just jumping on everybody else's ideas. But that's the screenwriter telling us she doesn't have a whole lot to offer besides her looks, which is echoed through a few different points in the movie. She's always just kind of standing in the background, not contributing much. But speaking of flip-flopping, Barry tells Ray to help him push the guy in, and Ray says, I'm having second thoughts. I don't know if I can, man. I'm freaking out.
Yeah, it's too late, dude. You already put the body in the trunk. Yeah. You already brought the body down here.
You're fucking committed.
Whether you push it in.
Follow the fuck through.
Whether you push it off the dock or not, you're already getting, you're fucked.
You got some splaining to do.
Yeah, you should have changed your mind before you touched the body.
Barry fucking loses it. Julie tells him it's not too late, and he just goes off. He's like, you shut the fuck up! And Helen's like, all right, Jesus, everybody shut up. I'll do it. And then when she kneels down next to this body, that's the moment this dude shoots up and grabs a handful of Helen's hair and her fucking crown along with it.
Mm-hmm.
And they push him into the water, although... Why didn't they at this point go, oh shit, dude, are you okay? We thought you were fucking dead, Holmes. Let's get this guy to the hospital. But that is not what they do. They kick him into the water, but oh shit, he's got Helen's crown, which she yells about, and Barry's like, no!
Yeah, this is so fucking ridiculous. So Barry, this dude sinks like a fucking stone, and Barry jumps in after him, and couple things here. This is the clearest water I've ever seen in my fucking life.
At night? Yeah.
But number 2, this dude just sinks and looks like fucking Jason in the bottom of the lake. You know what I mean? He's like in a pose, like he's coming out of like he's ready to come out of the water, and he's holding the crown up.
Like somebody paused the Thriller video.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous.
But when I was younger watching this, I remember being like, who gives a shit? Let him have the fucking crown. But no, now I realize, nah, man, that's evidence.
Right.
Helen was just awarded that crown with the whole town watching.
Oh, yeah.
They got to get it back, so if they do find the body, she's not implicated in the cover-up. So Barry jumps in the water to go after it, and when he dives down into the water, this dude looks pretty lifeless, but still holding onto the crown. Barry swims up to it to grab it, and the guy won't let go, and suddenly his eyes shoot open, and they struggle for a second while Barry finally wrestles the crown away from him and swims away, while the guy just stares at him as he ascends.
Yeah, he's just at the bottom of the lake now.
And he's just looking at him going up. Like, why are you grabbing the crown? Why don't you let it go as opposed to getting yourself back up to the surface? There must be some blunt force trauma to the head during the accident, because he's not fucking thinking clearly. He's just kicking. He's just like, oh, I guess I just live in this lake now.
Good thing I can hold my breath for a long time.
But Ray comes back up and slams the crown. Barry comes back up and slams the crown into Helen's chest and makes everybody promise never to speak of this again. He's like, it's now merely a future therapy bill. Agreed?
Agreed.
And Helen agrees, of course. She's always the first to. So does Ray, but Julie is slow to. At first, she just nods in agreement, but he's like, nope, that's not good enough. He fucking grabs her and pushes her up against the car and screams at her, we take this to our grave, let me hear it. And Ray's like, whoa, hey, easy, Tiger, let her go. But like, he's got a hand around her throat. I don't know why Ray isn't tearing him off of her. What the fuck?
Because he's a fucking pussy.
I guess, man. But she finally caves and she's like, okay, Barry, we take this to our grave. This is as good a time as any to mention how friggin' blue this whole movie is. I noticed it everywhere throughout this, but it's very prominent here. Apparently, the director and cinematographer worked up a color scheme for the film. Heavy blues throughout, noticeably no bright color through the whole thing. And it does seem rather drab and gritty because of that, which I think makes sense for the coastal fishing vibe. It kind of reminds me of things like The Fog.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But Barry finally lets Julie go, and Ray tells her, hey, everything's going to be all right. Yeah, all right, but your relationship definitely isn't after this. The look she gives him is the fucking mark of death, dude. She looks disgusted by this coward who not only covered up a murder, but then kind of did a murder twice, or at least stood by and watched it, and then wouldn't even step in when she was being physically fucking assaulted. Yeah, nice, dude. You guys are double doomed.
Fucking Ray.
But as the car drives away, the camera kind of hangs out for a minute, and the score intensifies as it zooms in on a little trinket on the ground, which was the same trinket that the guy on the cliff at the beginning of the movie was holding.
Oh, shit.
Dun, dun, dun. We cut to a year later on Julie's college campus. She's typing something up in her dorm room when her roommate pops in to tell her it's time to go. Oh, shit, where are we going?
This fucking feels like I'm watching American Pie. It's like another scene where the music doesn't sound like a horror movie, and it kind of gets, I'm not going to say happy, but it gets generic, you know, and you forget that you're watching a horror movie for a second.
Right.
I really liked seeing this laptop from 1997.
Oh my God, dude.
Dude, you could fucking knock somebody out with it. The thing is like 4 inches fucking thick. It's ridiculous as shit.
Hell yeah.
I like all of the computers that pop up in this movie. A little bit later, she's doing some research online.
On the local library,
This is like at least it looks like pre-Internet Explorer.
Pre the internet, how we know it for sure.
Yeah,
and this is certainly dial-up.
Right. You've got mail.
But yeah, her roommate, who's a black girl, walks in and she's like, get your white as death, chalky corpse in that car now.
That's right, girl.
Damn, everybody's just bullying this poor girl the whole time. But Julie says she changed her mind. She's not going. Apparently, where she's supposed to be going is back home, which is just about the last place she ever wants to be again. Clearly, she's not handling things well since the incident. She looks terrible. I would think she might be doing better a year later away from home, but she's got some hang-ups and having trouble getting past, the whole murdering a dude thing.
So apparently. She's got that 90s chic thing going on. Her hair is just kind of stringy, and in her face looks like, kind of look like you need to wash her hair.
It's just like sunken and washed out. She's pale as fuck. But we cut to a car driving around that very same section of curve that the incident happened on, and some shots of the town. I wonder if, like, while they were driving around that, she was just, like, internally freaking the fuck out.
Yeah. You always got to take the same road into the fucking town.
There's only one, dude. But I gotta say, it does look like a nice, tranquil place to settle down. Not too shabby. We've got dock parties on the 4th of July, all the fresh seafood you could ever want. Easy places to hide bodies. Dude, sign me up. But Julie's friend drops her off at her house and insists she gets sun and fun and drives away while J-Love stands there looking absolutely ridiculous in this stupid fucking hat and holding a teddy bear. She looks 10 years younger with this getup on. But her mom walks up to greet her and almost immediately asks if she's on drugs.
Damn, mama got it going on, too. Ooh, ooh.
And when she walks up, like, shimmying up to give her a hug, she get it from a mama. But Julie's taken aback by the question, but Mom says, well, she wasn't really serious. She just wanted an honest reaction out of her. She's like, you look like death. She's like, yeah, well, I've had a rough year.
You know.
Fuck off, Mom.
All this murder.
You don't know the half of it. She wanders around the house for a minute, taking in the nostalgia. She sees a picture of her and her dad, who isn't around anymore. Apparently he's dead. I wasn't sure what the situation was at first, but we get pretty soon here. We get an explanation. But she also sees a certificate that her parents framed that she got while she was in the student tutor program. Man,
Back
it sounds
when her
like
grades were good.
Yeah, it sounds like she's tons of fun. Mom walks back in to tell Julie she's got some mail.
You've got mail.
But it's not her report card. That came last week. Dun, dun, dun. And I must say, young lady, I was not impressed. No sun or fun for you. You're grounded. Now go to your room.
Yeah, Julie's grades are fucked. And I don't know. Something about the dean said this is her last chance. She brushes that shit off, though.
Yeah, Julie tries to be like, oh, it's no big deal, Mom. The summer session went really well. She's like, well, it would have to, because according to the dean, you've only got one more chance. But why is the dean spilling tea to Mom, dog? She's an adult now.
Right.
But she's like, what happened to my daughter? You went away and you don't call, you don't visit. Your father must be turning over in his grave. Ah, okay. Dead dad. Got it. But also, super shitty thing to say to your kid, man. Your dead dad must be so disappointed in you, you piece of shit. You know that? Your grades fucking suck.
Yeah. Do better.
Look at you. Your hair looks like shit. Julie turns to grab her letter, and we see that she's crying a little, and she goes to open it, and it just says, I know what you did last summer, in perfect serial killer script. But not much for letter writing, this guy. No header, no greeting, no return address, just an asshole heckler having a laugh, man.
Yep.
But she yells out to her mom and asks who sent it, but when Mom asks what it is, she's like, nothing! And turns to run up the stairs. Yeah, you're right, Mom. She's definitely on drugs. But later that night, she's sitting up, still staring at the letter.
In the middle of the sexy night.
I guess, dude. I don't think you're going to get any more information from that, though, dude. Like, it has, 7 words on it or whatever?
Hey, man. She looks good. She can stare at that letter all night.
Yeah, wearing her fucking flannel jammy top and fucking socks.
Yes.
Jesus. But just then she hears a rustling outside and a dog starts barking and she goes to check it out, but we don't see anything at this point. So she ends up closing the window and going back to curl up on the couch, but what we do hear in this moment is a metal chime sound that keeps recurring throughout this movie. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's probably going to keep her up all sexy. I mean, all
Jesus
night.
Christ. The next day, she drives up to Shiver's department store to talk to Helen's sister and get her info in New York. And here's Miss Vaughn again, Elsa Shivers in this case, yelling at some delivery guys who are just destroying her fucking merchandise. She's like, it's called glass, it breaks. And she walks out to the register and grabs some VHS tapes of some kind when she notices Julie walk in.
Look what the cat drug in.
Yeah, damn, dude. What's your issue with Julie? Why is everybody so shady to her all the time? But Julie tells her she needs to talk to Helen, if you wouldn't mind giving me her number in New York, if that's not too much of a fucking inconvenience. Bridget Wilson can't wait to throw shade at her. She's like, oh, Lil Miss Thang's New York number, huh? Fact check, Julie. Helen doesn't have a New York number. If you want to talk to Helen, I suggest you go to Women's Fragrances, 10 feet to your left.
Yeah. Oh.
Boom. Fucking burn, bro. Apparently things did not go well for Helen in New York, and she's right back where she started, working in the family department store. Which honestly doesn't sound like the worst gig in the world, man. I could go for that. A nice little laid-back town like that. I could live that life.
Yeah, I'm sure she's fine.
She's fine.
Julie's pretty quick to cut to the point here, you know. What happened in New York didn't work out. Here's the letter I just fucking got. Check this out.
I love it when they first look over at Helen. She like immediately fumbles a tray of perfume all over the counter like, oh, okay, I see why you didn't make it in acting. Your auditions must have been a shit show.
Maybe she's on drugs.
But yeah, they do the, hey, how are you? Good to see you, all that bullshit. She asks when Julie got back, and Helen looks like she's doing much better than Julie at any rate. But, I mean, that's when she shows her the note, and she's like, somebody knows, Helen. And she's like, how? We were so careful. Were we? Yeah, good fucking point. Not really.
Right.
You could have at least dextered it and driven a boat out a few miles or something.
Yeah, they didn't do much here.
But Elsa looks up like, what are these bitches talking about? And she can't stand that she's not getting all the tea right here.
Mm-hmm.
And they discuss the possibility of somebody having seen them, which they already know Max did.
Right.
And Elsa cannot take her eyes off of them as she wanders around the store. Maybe she's just pissed that her employees having a personal conversation at work.
Or maybe she's in on it.
Yeah, I think what they're doing is casting some suspicion on her, giving us a potential red herring, when there's no fucking way Elsa was anywhere near this shit.
Right.
But Helen asks if Barry has seen the note, so they go to visit him, and there are a couple exchanges about Helen not seeing him at school, but hey, it's a big campus. So apparently they ended up at the same school, but they're no longer together.
Aw.
I'd also like to point out that Helen is smoking now, so maybe she's not doing as well as she looked. But that's when Barry walks out onto this balcony and asks what the fuck they're doing there.
What are you doing here?
Yeah, fucking Sarah Michelle Gellar's just like, hi, Bear. But we cut to Barry, totally unimpressed by this letter, who he doesn't think it's anything to worry about. And while we're at it, you two should look in a mirror once in a while. You look like shit run over twice.
Yeah.
And Helen takes extreme offense to that. She's all about the do, remember?
Mm-hmm.
But Julie says they can't ignore this letter. Barry says, well, how do you know it has anything to do with that? You did a lot of things last summer, including Ray.
Well.
She goes, yeah, well, only one murder comes to mind. And that's when he freaks the fuck out on her again. He's like, you shut the hell up! We didn't murder anyone. And he looks over at his mom on the phone to make sure she's not looking at him. Didn't hear him screaming.
I was going to say, she's fucking used to him screaming all the time, so she doesn't even bat an eye.
He's really got to get a handle on that, man. In addition to rehab, anger management, please.
Yeah, he's just screaming the whole movie. It's fucking funny.
But Julie explains that the guy they killed, since he was still alive when they dumped him into the water, was David Egan. He was found 3 weeks after. His body caught in a shrimp net not far from Miller's dock. The paper called it an accidental drowning. And she insists he died because of them. And Barry brings up Ray at this point, but Julie says, oh, they broke up. She hasn't seen him since last summer. Last she heard, he was working up north.
Up north?
And Barry's like, all right, I'll play along. Let's say someone was there. Why send a letter 1 year later? Oh shit, I bet it's Max. Who else? He was the only one there.
Fucking duh. That would have been my first,
Obviously, that was the only other fucking person they saw that night.
Should have fucking roughed him up a year ago.
But yeah, we cut to the docks where Max is working, and it looks like the town's gearing up for their big Croaker Festival again. Bunch of fish floats all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Besides that, this looks like a pretty cool gig too. Nice view, might smell a little, but it's honest work.
Dude, there's a Toledo scale in the background here.
Oh, really?
Scene. Yeah.
Oh, damn, I didn't see that.
Yeah, them big ass fucking scales you see all over the place.
Yeah,
it's in the movie.
Nice, dude. Barry asks Max if they can talk in private, and as soon as they walk into a back room, Barry assaults him yet again, pushing him up against a bunch of ice blocks. Fucking sick set design, by the way. I like that a lot.
Yeah, dude, it's pretty cool. Barry's playing his typical fucking tough guy stuff here.
Yeah.
Threatens Max, kind of roughs him up a little bit, and then cuts him a little bit with that fucking hook too.
Yeah, well, he tells him they got his letter, and Max doesn't have a fucking clue what he's talking about.
Oh yeah, no.
And Barry grabs the hook and holds it up to Max's face and tells him he's got no problem fucking killing his ass. Understand? And he nicks his cheek a little bit and hangs the hook on a block of ice and walks away. That's when Max realizes it's okay to get tough again. He grabs the hook and he's like, "Don't you test me, motherfucker! I'll call the cops on your college quarterback ass." Ooh, sick burn, dude.
Hey man, I'll call the cops, okay?
Yeah, you fucking quarterback.
Yeah.
But Barry walks away with Julie and Helen, insisting he scared the shit out of Max and he won't be bothering him anymore. That's when they run into Ray again, apparently not working up north, but right here at home.
Yeah, wow.
We've got a big old reunion going on here. And Barry's like, oh, Ray grew up to be a fisherman, huh? And he points out the boat he works on.
Point out Ray's sick fucking hair like he's in Sugar Ray.
Yeah, that's his name, Sugar Ray. But Barry doesn't waste any time. He's like, peace out, bitches, have a nice life, and he walks off. Ray asks Julie for a minute alone, and Helen excuses herself to get back to work, which gives Julie a chance to tell Ray about the letter. And in our transition here, I love the shot of this dude walking by carrying a single huge fish over his shoulder like a Minuteman in his musket. It's fucking great.
Doc life.
But Ray asks how school is going. She's like, so, you're a fisherman. Wow, that's crazy, huh? Like, totally ignoring the fucking school shit.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, prophecy fulfilled, I've become my father, which is funny because the only thing he knows about his father is that he also worked on fishing boats. He takes the opportunity to say, hey, look, I know you hold me responsible for what happened. She goes, no, I don't. I'm a big girl, but I will tell you that I don't want to know you. Holy fucking shit. That's quite a line drop to put on someone who's obviously still in love with you.
Sex must have been terrible.
I don't even want to know you. I regret every bit about that.
Yeah, that night on the beach has haunted me. It has nothing to do with the murder. I still can't get the sand out.
Now let's go up to the curve so I can kill you. But she and her overalls run off down the dock, and we cut back to Max working.
Hold on, her running off here is like real goofy and reminds me of Sydney running away and fucking Scream.
Yeah, just kind of trotting away like a gazelle. But we cut back to Max. He hangs a hook on a block of ice.
He hangs is huge. I mean,
no, he hangs his hook on a block of ice and starts putting a big old basket of fresh crabs into some pots of water to boil, I guess. Does that happen here?
I don't know if I thought it was lobsters. I don't know.
Whatever
really,
it is, it seems like he's boiling them, doesn't it?
Which, yeah, I guess I don't know enough about that industry that would you catch them and then cook them right on the dock? That's not, you deliver them alive and fresh.
I thought so, yeah.
But yeah, evidently this huge fucking room with a whole bunch of fucking boilers.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know. Interesting. I'm guessing maybe the restaurant must be right there.
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
I guess that would make sense, sure.
Pretty cool, though.
But he burns himself on one of these pots and goes to grab some gloves and walks right past that block of ice and fails to notice that the hook that he just hung there is missing.
Oh, shit.
So he does start getting the vibe that something is off, though. He starts kind of looking around to see what's up. But too bad this place is filled with steam and he can't see a guy in a fisherman's getup walk up to bury this fucking hook under Max's chin and drags him across this workstation.
Yeah, badass.
Blood streaks across it as he does. He drags him off screen and we cut away. But it should be noted that this scene wasn't in the original cut. Jim Gillespie was not too keen on making a violent film. Boo.
Right.
And he was trying to steer away from using blood and gore, but after the production company saw it and screened it for some test audiences, they were like, dude, fuck you doing?
Yeah.
This is a slasher.
Yeah.
Please put some blood in our slasher, please. And I couldn't agree more. There's another scene we'll talk about later, and it's the same deal. This scene and that scene were both reshoots, which is just fucking crazy to me. Like, so you just wanted like a lighthearted whodunit or what, Jim?
Yeah, weird.
No, thank you. But we join back up with Barry, who drives to the gym to punch out some of his perpetual angst. And after a session, he's hearing noises in the locker room as he unwraps his hands. And he takes a shower and sees some more spooky shadows creeping around. When he gets back to his locker, he finds a Polaroid picture just taken of his car sitting outside the gym.
Yeah, shit, dude. And
he flips it over to see "I know" written on the back. He looks around the locker room and notices that his locker door is now open. Dun, dun, dun.
This shot's really cool, man. It's like a fixed cam as he walks through the locker room.
It's a cool tracking shot. I'm telling you, the fucking cinematographer is the hero of this fucking movie.
Right.
It's amazing. He also notices at this point that his jacket is gone and goes to ask the attendant, Hank, if anyone else is at the gym, and he's like, nope, just you and me.
Weird, man. Just as this happens and he says nobody's there, you can hear the car start up. So I can't believe that guy wasn't like, oh, wait a minute, somebody is here. He didn't move, you know?
Right. Yeah, he hears his car start up and he runs outside just in time to see someone driving it away. Must be a pro stunt driver because this motherfucker's hauling ass in reverse.
Right.
But Barry mutters to himself, Max, you're fucking dead. Correct. And then the lights fire up and the car starts to speed directly toward him and he's kind of like zigging and zagging all over. Which
Pretty
makes
fucking fast.
It makes for an exciting scene, but it's always like, dude, just run into a building or something, you idiot. But speaking of running into a building, the driver finally corners Barry and comes speeding at him, hitting him and sending him flying up and over the car, just like the other guy on the curve, and then proceeds to just smash straight into this building in front of him, throwing Barry through the wall along with a ton of debris.
Mm-hmm.
Barry's hurt, but he's not dead. And we get our first decent look at the fisherman here. It's an overhead shot, but still a pretty cool look. He's wearing a big long slicker. He's got like there's a collar on it that comes up and covers half of his face, kind of.
Right.
And then he's got the big hat coming down to cover the other half of his face,
Yeah,
essentially.
so you can't see shit.
Yeah. He gets out of the car and stalks toward Barry, who screams for help, but the fisherman just takes a hook out of his jacket and it fades to black.
Right.
What the fuck?
Yeah, didn't like that.
Not at all. What kind of lazy shit is that? A, just to end a scene in general by doing that, and B, we end up cutting to the hospital where Julie has come to see Barry. Turns out Ray and Helen are already there. But why didn't the fisherman fucking kill him? He had him under his hook right there.
Right.
There was no one around. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, because he's trying to kill him later.
Yeah, just get the fucking job done.
Right.
Now you got one less to worry about.
Very strange.
But yeah, we're at the hospital now, and they're talking to Barry, and he's like, for the 40th fucking time, I couldn't see his face.
Right. It's just some dude in a fucking... in a slicker.
Yeah. Julie's still insisting that they go to the cops. She's like, someone tried to kill you last night. And he points out, no, if you wanted me dead, I'd be dead. They're just fucking with us.
Mm-hmm.
And Helen's like, who is? And he's like, well, I don't know, just some guy in a slicker. And Ray points out, oh, cool, that narrows it down in this fucking fishing village we live in.
They're all fucking stupid.
And Barry throws suspicion at Ray, and they get into a little tiff again. Ray says maybe it's time to come clean, but Barry's like, no, we made a pact. We stick to it.
Truth.
And Julie points out that sticking to it seems to be picking them off. So maybe not a great idea. But it was no accident, Julie. It was murder. That's what you called it. We need to find out who did this and have a little chat, Barry says.
Well, and then we actually get something from Helen here. Actually, she shows some sense here, and she says it must be one of the guy's family members, you know?
Or a friend or something. But she also points out, which I thought where you were going with it, is that the person that's doing this is choosing not to go to the police.
Right.
Which buys them time to figure shit out.
Right.
So she's like, it's got to be a friend or family member or the guy we hit himself, which correct. And asks Julie what his name was, and Ray says it could still be Max, and Julie's like, all right, then fucking find him. Prove Barry wrong. That's what you really want, right?
Right.
And he's like, no, what I want is for you and me to, and she interrupts him saying, there is no you and me, and storms out.
Ouch.
Damn.
Said, terrible fucker.
Yeah, dude, it's over. I fucking told you, Ray, it's over.
We tried once. That's it. You got your shot.
The door closes, and Sarah Michelle Gellar's like, I'm available. You want to go solve some mysteries together, hot stuff? Back at Julie's house, her and Helen access the local library's online database and run a search on David Egan. There's a bunch of articles about his football career pop up, as well as a couple about a tragic car accident 2 years ago, in which a young girl named Susie Willis was killed.
Oh, shit.
Trapped in a car after it skid off the road near Dawson's Beach, and she drowned. Damn. Meanwhile, the driver, David Egan, was unharmed. Double damn.
Yeah, shit, dude.
And apparently Susie was David's fiance, and Julie remembers her name tattooed on the arm of the guy they killed.
Oh.
So, okay, yeah, definitely David.
Right.
I paused it for some extra info on these articles, but don't bother. They really mailed it in on these. Not expecting people to pay much attention, and the articles just end up repeating themselves, like whole-ass sections just written twice.
Mm-hmm.
And they get some info about where the Egans live, and it turns out they live way out in the sticks, as Helen puts it. We cut to them on a road trip for truth, and Helen is doing a terrible job navigating. She's like, turn right. Julie's like, where? She's like, back there. And it shows the car backing up to get back to the turn.
Right.
And Helen asks, at this point, what Julie's plan is. She's like, what, we just knock on the door and say, hey, we killed your son, we were just in the neighborhood, so...
Yeah, Jesus.
But Julie wants to play it by ear, apparently. Helen's not down with that. She's like, Angela Lansbury always had a plan. Right, dude, she was playing matchmaker in that castle with her disabled son. Remember Chip?
What?
It kind of reminds me of Ted, where he fucking has, like, the stuffing, like, in the wrong places at the end of the movie. He's like,
yeah.
I'm a little fucked up.
Right.
But they finally get to the Egan house, and Helen starts freaking out. She's like, what if they're waiting to ambush us? What if they recognize us? What if they have a gun? Damn, dude, relax. She's like, Jodie Foster tried this, and a serial killer answered the door.
Yeah, no shit.
But Julie knocks on the door a couple of times, and Helen gives it no time before she's just like, well, nobody here, better go.
Right. Julie walks around the side, she follows, and...
She's about to just break into a fucking window, dude.
Which, what is that gonna do? An empty fucking house?
You're just adding to your list of crimes, I guess?
Right. But she gets caught immediately.
Yeah, Anne Heche catches them. This is Missy Egan, David's sister. They walk into the house, and it definitely gives off, like, that front corridor of the Sawyer house, for sure.
I was gonna say Texas Chainsaw vibes, but...
Super similar layout.
After watching the movie a few times, I realized... this chick plays a character in one of the remakes of Texas Chainsaw.
Oh, dude, is she the hitchhiker they pick up?
No, she's not the hitchhiker, but Jessica Alba like gets away for a second.
Jessica Biel.
I'm sorry, yeah, Jessica Biel doesn't get caught yet. She's wandering through the woods crying, and she finds that trailer with the baby. You know, hey, that's not your baby.
Yeah.
That chick is there. And then later, when she's chained to the table, she's sitting there with that other hefty lady, you know.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, we got company coming over. Well, the chick comes over with her baby.
Yeah. And she's like a part of the crew.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Well, yeah, I think the like Texas Chainsaw like shots are definitely on purpose in this sort of homage.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with what we see here later.
Right.
But Missy takes him inside and guides him to a phone. Julie calls Helen Jody in this moment and asks her to call AAA, and she's like, you got it, Angela. Yep, horrible actress. No wonder it didn't pan out. That was super awkward. But Helen turns and gets the shit scared out of her by a slicker hanging on the coat rack. And Missy introduces herself and makes some small talk, mentions she went to Southport High just like them, class of 88 though. And she's like, I had a brother, but he was younger than me, class of 92, but he just died last July. And they're asking her, like, do you live alone? She's like, yeah, my daddy died a long time ago. My mama lives in a home.
Mama's in a home.
Because she didn't take too well to what happened to David. Things just haven't been the same since he died. Don't you guys feel like shit?
Right. Would y'all like a cup of tea?
Yeah, she offers him a cup of tea, and Helen comes back out while they wait for the, you know, quotes, truck. But that's when Helen tries to get all investigative and coax some info out of Missy, but unsuccessfully. She does mention there was one guy that stopped by after David's death to pay his respects. Really nice guy, cute, smart. We had a little bit of a thing for a minute, but it didn't really work out. I think it hurt him to be around me. And Helen asks if she remembers his name, and she says Billy. Billy Blue.
Sounds fucking made up.
It does. Well, because it is. But Julie says they need to get back to the car, and Missy's like, oh no, please stay. I'm so fucking lonely out here. And Julie's like, nah, that's okay. We don't want to miss AAA. Back in the car, she's feeling super guilty now that they've been to his house and met his sister. It all made it a little too real, I think.
Right.
And Helen insists it was an accident, but Julie's like, nah, dog, we killed a guy and ruined the lives of everyone he knew. Helen's like, no, it's not that serious, really. But just then, Missy runs past the car and smacks the shit out of it for a cheap little jump scare. Not sure why she came in with so much fucking heat, but goddamn, girl.
Yeah, scared the shit out of me.
She rolls the window, Julie rolls the window down, and she just gives her Helen's pack of cigarettes.
Got your smokes?
Yeah, fucking myth confirmed. That's way too dramatic of a cigarette delivery. This lady is fucking starved for attention and companionship.
Hey, don't forget your smokes.
Come back. I'll smoke the rest of them with you.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate that.
Smokes, let's go.
Yeah.
But hey, while we're here, that's funny. You got the car started back up, huh? Weird.
Yep.
Julie's like, yeah, it's the damnedest thing. Just started right back up. And then she starts to drive off while Missy is still leaning on the damn
right.
thing.
Yep, car's working. See you later, bitch.
Dude, you're fucking terrible at this. You're being super sus. But Julie drives Helen back to her house, and they make a plan to find this Billy Blue character. And Helen has an apostrophe here, thinking, hey, what if he wanted to die? Maybe David was on that road because his girlfriend was killed there a year prior. Maybe we did him a favor.
Yeah, if it helps you sleep at night.
Helen's like, what happened between us? We used to be best friends. And Julie's like, we used to be a lot of things. Oh, yeah? Did you? Do tell.
Murder might change the relationship a little bit. I'm sorry.
I was thinking they did a little experimenting back in the day.
Ooh.
And Helen does say, I miss you. And Julie just ices her out. She's no response.
Yes.
Helen gets out of the car and Julie just drives away. But we cut to the inside of Helen's house where her dad's watching a baseball game and she says hi to him. But he fucking ices her out too. Doesn't say a word to her. What the fuck?
Yeah, not now. He's probably mad that shit didn't take off in New York. The fuck out of my house.
Yeah, you're a failure, Helen. Fuck you. She grabs a Diet Coke from the fridge, and neither her nor her dad, who's got a nice glass of sipping whiskey, notice that the fisherman just walks into their house and up into her room.
Damn.
Even when she enters it, she doesn't notice the closet door cracked, and even with the score ramping up to what we think might be a kill, we just hear some shallow breathing as she slips into a nightshirt and reminisces staring at her crown from last year. That's when her sister Elsa walks in and grabs her shoulder for another jump scare.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, oh, is the washed out, dried up has-been having a moment? Dude,
Damn.
Quit being an asshole for like 5 seconds, man. Elsa tells her she needs her at the store tomorrow at 10 o'clock for inventory, and Helen tells her she can't she has to ride in the parade as the outgoing queen prior to the pageant.
Lame.
It's tradition. There's nothing she can do about it. She goes back to brushing her hair, and Elsa rags on her about that, too. She's like, you're so fucking pathetic. Look at you brushing your stupid fucking hair. Jesus, man, their relationship is total dog shit. I get sibling rivalry, but this isn't even that. It's too low energy for that. Elsa's just a mean girl, and poor Helen is her little whipping boy.
She's just jealous, you know?
But Helen gets into bed, and we transition to the next morning where she wakes up to a bunch of her hair having been hacked off while she slept, and her crown is also perched atop her head. What the fuck is all this about?
The mirror says soon.
Yeah, she runs over to check out the damage on her head, and scrawled in lipstick across it is just the word soon.
Right away, after all the shade from her sister the night before, mentioning her hair specifically. I don't know why she didn't jump to that immediately.
Yeah.
This scene should have been her getting up, walking into her sister's room, and punching her in the face.
Yeah, that could have been pointing at her as a red herring again, and, kind of solidifying that a little bit more, which, even though it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Right.
There's no fucking way. But she loses it, punches the shit out of the mirror. Bad move. You don't need to be adding bad luck to the mix of the problems you're dealing with right now. But we cut to a really cool shot where we start in Julie's room, and she answers the phone call. And I'm guessing from Helen telling her about this morning's crazy news.
Right.
But the camera's on Julie from outside her bedroom window. And when she hangs up, we see her run down the stairs, but the camera pulls back. And as she runs down the stairs, the camera just pans down to the front yard, where we see Julie come out the front yard, or out the front door. I really like the shots in this. They're really, really fucking well thought out.
Yeah, for sure.
She drives down the road, headed to Helen's, presumably, and she keeps hearing noises coming from her trunk, which, by the way, is an old Dodge Aries, so it's got that 90s logo that you had to, push to the side to unlock the trunk. Dude, I always loved that so fucking much. But anyway, she pulls over and pops it open to reveal fucking Max stuffed into it with a bunch of live crabs dancing all over him.
Yeah, dude, crabs are eating him, right?
Gruesome as fuck and somehow beautiful all at once.
I like this because Julie screams. Nothing happens here as far as nobody is looking out the window in this neighborhood.
Right.
And she just runs to Helen's house. So she must have been close.
She's not interested in that fucking car anymore, dude.
Right.
But of course, we got to get a good shot of that cleavage as she bends over to unlock it.
Yes.
Literally, my next note was cue Jason's yes.
Yeah.
But I also really like the detail of the tiny crab crawling out of his mouth. That's pretty dope.
Really cool.
But she freaks out, of course, and just runs. She leaves the car on the road and fucking almost immediately gets hit by a car.
Wasn't the trunk open still when she ran away? So there's just a dead body.
No, I think she closed it. Question mark. But she leaves the car sitting in the road, finishes the rest of the trip to Helen's on foot, where Barry already is as well. She takes him back to the car to see Max, and of course, when they get back, the trunk's totally empty.
Dude, super fucking clean,
Completely clean with just a few common trunk items in it. There's jumper cables, an umbrella, a jack, whatever. Helen is now wearing a hat, by the way, and her hair isn't even that bad. I'm sure there was some clause in her contract saying the hair is not to be fucked with. She's got way too much going on this year. But Julie flips out and she's like, don't you fuck with me. Max was here and he was wearing your jacket, Barry. All right, so where did he go? Did the crabs carry him away?
Right.
But Julie says the killer must have come back and taken the body. But now I'm just imagining this dude watching her like a hawk, and he's fucking on her ass. The second she runs away from this car, this dude screeches up and just tosses this poor kid's body in another car, shoveling crabs into it, taking extra care. Yeah, just making sure he gets all the little crabs, meticulously arranging all the other junk in the back of this trunk. There just seems like a lot to go through for this.
Right.
To fuck with these kids. But Barry's like, well, why would he do that? And she's like, I don't know, dude. I just work here. Why is the sky blue? Why do birds suddenly appear every time that you're near? Why did he try to run you over? Why did he make coleslaw on Helen's head? He's fucking with us.
Yeah, he's got us and we can't go to the police,
Yeah, she asks him where his jacket is and mentions, they can't go to the police. This guy's just out there watching and waiting. And here's where we get that infamous, what are you waiting for scene. Which, this is fucking crazy, apparently was conceived and directed by a child that won a contest to come on and create a moment for the movie. Yeah, that's one way to do it, I guess.
You can tell.
But Jennifer Love Hewitt said that she hated the idea, but after filming it, it became one of the biggest moments, for better or for worse. But she claims everybody loved it and it was a great idea. Looking back on it, I've never been a fan. It just feels forced and clunky to me, but the news that it's because it was literally directed by a child clears a lot of that up for me.
Right.
But I hate her little spinny move she does. It's just all so silly.
Right.
And yeah, these neighbors have got to be looking out their windows like, what the fuck is this girl on, dude? I just ran into her mom at the grocery store and she thinks she's on drugs.
I think so. Fucking looks like it.
So Julie, Helen, and Barry go back to Helen's house, I believe, where Ray is waiting for them now for some reason. And he goes, oh, I've been looking for you guys everywhere. And Barry just power walks up to him and says, you're going to die, and punches the shit out of his face. Drops him and then goes down for the ground and pound. And Julie tries to pull him off. But really, it's just Freddie Prinze Jr., who's way bigger than Ryan Felipe, just holding him back while he stands up. It's like the fucking, there's a kid swinging at you and you're just putting your hand on his head to hold him back.
Nice to see you too, buddy.
Barry thinks Ray is the killer, but Ray's like, nah, man, he's after me too. I got a letter. Barry's like, oh, gee, a letter? I get run over. Helen gets her hair chopped off. Julie gets a body in her trunk. Which already one of these things is not like the others. But he's like, oh, poor baby, you got a little letter, huh?
I mean, Julie got a fucking letter too, so shut the fuck up, Barry.
Right.
But yeah, he's fucking yelling at Ray. You set this all up.
Yeah, accuses him of killing Max and stealing his jacket.
Yeah, he's like, what the fuck? Max is dead?
Yeah. He twisted around to Ray being jealous of the money that the rest of them have. That's a pretty wild pivot. But Helen's just kind of standing in the background as usual. The framing of the shot is almost identical to the scene where they killed that guy.
Right.
But I wanted to comment on Sarah Michelle Gellar's getup here. Like, she's wearing this super cool 90s hip-hop video backup dancer costume that I believe you can still get at Spirit Halloween.
She's fucking hot, man.
Yeah, that's not incorrect. But Julie pulls them all together saying they need to help each other, and Barry tucks his dog tags back in, which, why does he have those? Are those his dad's or something? Like, why is everybody's dad's dead or gone or at the very best total non-character in this movie? Either way, they're certainly not his fucking dog tags.
Right.
Barry's like, all right, then if it's not Ray, who is it?
It's fucking Billy Blue.
Yeah, Julie's like...
Stupidest name. Might as well have fucking named him David Davidson,
Julie says, yeah, that we think that's what his name is, but we see a glimmer of recognition from Ray. Uh-oh, what does he know? Why does he know that name? But she goes, we talked to David Egan's sister, and Freddie Prinze Jr. is just like, damn it, my ex and hopefully future girlfriend was hanging out with my fling after she left for college. Oh, this is awkward. But she says Billy went to school with David, which would make him class of 92, which Helen realizes her sister Elsa also was. Dun, dun, dun.
92.
Maybe there's something in the yearbook. So they find a picture of football hero David Egan, and Ray's like, wow, hard to believe that's the guy. And Barry's like, yeah, his face isn't splattered all over the road, dumbass.
Yeah.
Too soon? But they can't find any mention of Billy Blue anywhere. So Julie's like, well, maybe he lied to Missy. I mean, we did. She's pretty dumb, it turns out.
Right.
But Helen says maybe they should take the yearbook to Missy and see if she can point the guy out. But Ray's a homebody. He's like, nah, I don't feel like going anywhere.
I mean, he's kind of he's like high school mugshots. Like,
yeah.
What the fuck are you guys doing?
I
agree
get what they're going for. Like, if the guy's name isn't Billy Blue, if that's an alias, okay, do you recognize the guy from this yearbook?
Right.
And maybe they can get his real name and track him down, figure out some more shit, but whatever. Julie's like, I'll do it. Helen, you need to go to the parade in case he shows up. Oh yeah, good call. I'd love to be your bait in our fucking quaint little Fishtown parade.
Right.
Very thematic. But Julie's like, hey man, this is our chance. We could catch him. Yeah? And what's your plan after you do that? These college freshmen have zero fucking plans toward any sort of offensive operation. They're just hoping to see him out somewhere at this point and just ambush his ass?
Right.
Hope to overpower him with no weapons or anything? Sweet, let's do it.
That's what I was wondering. Like, Julie, are you just trying to kill this guy? It sounds like
finish the fucking job, man.
Yeah, right.
But Julie says it's the 4th of July, Ray. This is his day. Oh, that's funny. I thought it was Uncle Sam's day. But her point is whatever he's planning to do is going to go down today.
Right.
And Ray goes, but this is the moment where we have to make a decision. Let's make the right one. And she's like, I'm not interested in what's right anymore, Ray. I want to do what's smart. And his suggestion is just hightailing it out of there. And J-Love's like, nah, I already tried that. Didn't work. We need to confront this asshole. She's like, make your call, Ray, now or never. And she kind of like readjusts herself so that all 4 boobs in the room are framed front and center for the camera. The shot cuts away, and here we fucking go. It's the 4th of July Croker Parade. Still don't know what that is. But the marching band has gotten a little better. However, they're playing the It's a Grand Old Flag, it's a high flying flag. Fucking spare me, please. Can we get some like Southern College drumline shit going on here? That'd be a way better parade. But we got floats, we got cheerleaders and majorettes, we got a Statue of Liberty, we got an Uncle Sam on stilts that's about to be clotheslined by these telephone lines. And we got Barry just kicking it on the front of a float for some reason, clearly not interested in being there at all.
Actually on the float, too.
Yeah.
Like, hell yeah.
Yeah, but Julie told him not to let Helen out of his sight, so the float he's sitting on is the one for last year's Croaker Queen, and then we pan up to Sarah Michelle Gellar sitting in a clamshell, presented to the world like Ariel. She's got her crown and her scepter. And I don't know what she was so worried about, dude. Her hair looks totally fine.
That's what I said, too.
Great, even.
Not even a big deal.
No, but she's going back and forth between waving and scanning the crowd for fishermen's. So is Barry, it turns out, and they kind of share a look like, hey, maybe life ain't so bad. Maybe we should get back together. And that's when Helen sees a guy standing there in a slicker and a hat staring menacingly at them. Mm-hmm. She points him out to Barry, and he just chases this guy down the dock and tackles the fuck out of this old-ass man.
Oh, dude, old as fuck.
Who was just wearing this to be festive, I guess?
He's probably a fucking fisherman. The whole town's fisherman.
I mean, yeah, but like everybody at the parade are wearing slickers for some reason. It's the 4th of July, dude. That's got to be hot as shit.
Right.
That's not a fucking like practical choice.
Probably still working, you know?
I don't think they're working. I think they're just hanging out at the parade in their slickers to be like fucking, you know.
Oh, to celebrate the town.
To celebrate the town. Yeah, they're like in costume essentially. But Barry is on top of this dude ready to start pummeling him. And this poor old man's eyes are rolling in the back of his head. He's clearly having a fucking heart attack.
Oh, dude, he fucking tackled his back, you know? It probably
dude, probably broke him in half. And that's when we just cut away. What the fuck? I need to see some EMTs helping this guy out before we leave this scene, dude.
Yeah, we cut to Julie showing up at the Missy Chainsaw Massacre house.
Yeah, dude. We get that Texas Chainsaw shot again through the screen door. While this creepy old country music drifts over the air, which is, the song's called Where Did You Sleep Last Night, also known as In the Pines.
I was going to say, yeah, I made a note for In the Pines, and I only know this song because Nirvana covered it.
Right.
And they covered it on that Unplugged, but yeah, I recognized it right away, and like...
I knew it because my dad was a big bluegrass head his whole life, and so I recognized it, but I love the use of... Not that I'm a huge fan of like Rob Zombie movies in general. There are a couple I like, including House of a Thousand Corpses, where like they play that fucking Slim Whitman or whatever song. Just that creepy old country shit drifting across the air. I was
gonna say,
just makes everything so fucking eerie.
It's placed well,
and it sounds like it's playing on a fucking phonograph or something.
Yeah,
it's like tinny sounding.
Record. Yeah, something for sure. Definitely great.
This whole fucking place looks crazy at this point. Julie knocks on the door, but no answer from Missy. She looks around to find that this place seems to have had a bit of a makeover from last time they were here, speaking of TCM. Now we've got animal hides and skulls hanging all over the place and turkeys strung up on ropes in the trees. I'd say Missy's into some weird shit, but we already know she lives out in the sticks. She's just trying to survive, bro.
Right. And, you know, the way that this looks, it's kind of crazy that she decides, I'm going to go walking into this fucking yard where there's a bunch of dead shit.
Well, she was going to just straight up break into the fucking house earlier.
Right.
But speaking of Missy, here she comes at Julie with a knife out of nowhere, but not to attack her. She was just doing some rendering out in the woodshed. But Julie's like, hey, remember me from the other day, the car trouble? She's like, yeah, what are you doing here? Don't tell me it's fucking car trouble again.
Right.
And we cut back to Helen in the parade for a second, and that guy on the dock is definitely dead at this point. But now she's just seeing fishermen's everywhere. God damn it. This son of a bitch had to pick the most popular summer costume in town, huh? Cool. It's got to be so fucking hot, dude. Oh,
right.
These people are crazy. I know it's a coastal town, but it's also fucking North Carolina. So.
Yep.
But she sees one up in a balcony, and this one might be the real guy because he holds up a hook for her to get a good look at.
Yep, sure looks like it.
Cut back to Missy's. We're in the backyard, and it looks like a Ren Fair setup a little bit, but if it was like an old Pioneer times instead.
Yeah, she's like cutting up fish here and just
a bunch of rusty old outbuildings everywhere,
right.
Cutting up a mess of fish. Julie's like, hey, can you take a break from that for a minute to look at this yearbook? It's about your brother's murder last year. We kind of might have did it.
Yeah, she's hinting at the incident, or the accident here, I should say. But we find out that Missy thinks it was a suicide.
Yeah.
And he left a note.
Yeah.
And evidently she kept that hidden for insurance reasons.
Yeah. She says the whole town blamed him for Susie's death, so a year after it happened, he went up to the same spot to check himself out. And apparently Missy hid the suicide note from the insurance company because they wouldn't pay for his life insurance
right.
if it was a suicide. But here you go. Feast your eyes. She hands it out to Julie, even though no fucking thanks. I'm not grabbing that thing. It's got animal blood and fish guts all over it.
Yeah.
But it just says, I will never forget last summer, in the same handwriting we've seen all these other notes in.
Right.
But Julie says, nah, you got it all wrong. This isn't a suicide note. We fucking killed him. Hey, Julie, how about you shut the fuck up and take the win, all right?
Yeah.
At least as far as the law is concerned, you're in the clear. Now you just got to take care of this fisherman zombie.
Yeah, and then we get a very important piece of information here where we find out that David Egan didn't have a tattoo.
Yeah, she tells Missy, no, this isn't a suicide note. It's a death threat. I saw your brother in the road that night. I saw the Susie tattoo on his arm. And she's like, what? He didn't have a tattoo.
Right.
My brother drowned and you're fucking crazy. You're crazy. Now get off my property before I do the same thing to you that I did to the rest of these animals.
Right. And here we can tell that Julie is, fuck, he didn't have a tattoo?
Yeah, man.
Well, fucking now what, man?
She has an epiphany here and she realizes that they fucking got the wrong guy.
Right.
But she runs off the property in a really nice shot, actually. And then we cut to the town gearing up for the big pageant tonight. There's a bunch of volunteers setting up chairs and they got banners hanging. We're doing sound checks. And we follow a lady carrying a box past a girl practicing her baton routine for the talent portion. No thank you. Until we rest on Barry and Helen behind this see-through backdrop. And it's a really fucking cool shot. Like the lights backstage turn on and it kind of replaces the visual from the stage to what's backstage. And we can still see the backdrop like a filter over what we're watching now.
Right.
I fucking love it.
Yeah, very cool.
Great. But Helen tells Barry about the fisherman with the hook on the balcony. Couldn't help but notice there's not a peep from Barry about the old guy he murdered on the pier. But he comforts her, telling her he's not going to let anything happen to her, and we fade back to a quick shot of Julie driving back home before we join the real pageant in full swing later that day, and we've got all our contestants on stage, but then they start a new tradition, I think, because I don't believe this happened last year at last year's Miss Fishtown pageant that Helen won.
Mm-hmm.
But the announcer guy says, hey, how about we welcome to the stage last year's Fishtown queen? And they bring Helen back on stage, and she's just got to sit there awkwardly while someone else takes her fucking crown.
Yeah, she's just sitting fucking duck, too, you know? Boom, chair, stage all night, you don't move.
Yeah, it's so fucking weird. When he announces her, though, we get this cringy-ass music playing, and it's like the fucking, like, Miss America pageant, like, beautiful girl, you're a lovely picture. I fucking hate these pageants, man. That's some Epstein shit. I don't see what the problem is. They are all very beautiful girls. Why are we worried about their age? I think all women can be beautiful. Women on airplanes, girls at Fishtown pageants, or even ones in Utah in 1997. Beautiful girls all over. God bless America. But anyway, when Barry is up in the rafters clapping for Helen again, just like last year, that's crazy. 1 year ago today, exactly, right down to the time of day, he was in this exact same spot.
Right.
Is that wild or
That's
what?
pretty strange.
But Helen sits down and smiles up at Barry. We move on to the talent portion, which is just, all right, maybe not just, but almost as cringeworthy of the beauty pageant music. But because this girl is trying to fucking sing a song, but has to awkwardly dance around on stage for way too long while the song intro plays.
Right.
Until she finally starts singing. Meanwhile, Sarah Michelle Gellar just has to sit on stage and pretend to be interested this whole time.
Yeah.
Are you fucking for real? Why would they do this to this poor girl? She's just got to sit there the whole time.
What if she had to pee?
Dude, seriously, anything. I don't know why they would fucking do this. It doesn't make sense for her. Like, are they trying to say that she's presiding over this? Like, she's gonna pick the fucking next queen or something?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
None of it fucking makes any sense. This song sucks, by the way, and so does the lady singing it. Helen looks over at it like, okay, Jesus Christ, where's the fisherman when you need him? Fucking kill me already. Ask and you shall receive, Helen. That's just when we start seeing fishy shadows lurking around behind Barry. Uh-oh.
Right, which is kind of funny, though, because we see POV from Helen a couple different times looking up how she can't really see Barry up there, but is about to catch a glimpse of the fisherman.
Well, she's got the lights in her face, but they're moving around. It's like the spotlight is on the girl dancing around the stage, but it kind of like keeps on interfering with her vision.
Right.
But it clears every once in a while, and in the middle of this fucking entertainment event, ? Helen stands up in the middle of this girl's song to warn Barry that the fisherman's right behind him, and the girl's like, what the fuck, Helen? You had your year. Sit down.
Yeah, and this is fucking weird to me, too, because she's freaking out. She's yelling. It starts a panic, essentially, in this fucking room. But instead of anybody giving her room to get through whatever she's yelling about, she almost gets kind of stopped.
I don't fucking get this at all. The girl looks around for help from somebody, and the crowd starts to stir. Helen runs down the stairs as carefully as she can with those heels on, and her crown falls off her head in the meantime. Meanwhile, upstairs, Barry's getting his ass kicked by the fisherman, and as he's landing the death blow, this crowd stands up and blocks Helen from going any further.
Right.
What the fuck? Why are you putting your hands on this girl?
Yeah, they're like holding her.
I think
leaving.
maybe they're thinking like, oh, she's going crazy, we gotta help her or something, but like, fuck off.
Right.
She's trying, like, maybe one time in one of these movies, like, pay attention to what somebody's fucking saying.
Right.
But she just has to helplessly watch via the shadows cast by the theater lights here, which is also a really cool idea and really well done. But the scene as a whole makes very little sense.
Right.
That's when a cop walks up, like, what seems to be the problem here? And she tells him what's going on, which is when one guy wearing a fish hat gets a hilarious shot where the camera's like angled up at him all dramatically, and he just slowly turns his head up toward the balcony. And there's also a moment where I paused it here where Sarah Michelle Gellar's trying to get everybody off her, and she looks just like Pennywise. Do with that what you will. But the MC tries to get everybody to calm down and get back to their seats while the cop and Helen go upstairs to scope shit out. He doesn't find anything and thinks she's pranking him. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, he's pissed.
But I almost feel like he's gaslighting her here, though. Like, she says something about, like, the fisherman was just up here killing Barry. And he's like, Barry who? Ain't nobody named Barry ever existed in this town. That sounds like some sort of queer or something, dude. What? Are you telling me everybody in this town doesn't know everybody in this tiny little town?
Yeah.
Especially the police force, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure he's gotten in trouble before. It's fucking Barry.
Well, he was the quarterback, too.
Yeah.
You know? So.
And he's fucking, like, had, newspaper articles written about him that we see later.
I mean, like I was saying about the age stuff earlier, even as much as, okay, Barry's house looked all richy rich, right?
Mm-hmm.
Town don't look all richy rich, so where the fuck is this house at? Because look at the fucking, look at the gym he was at that was on the pier that, like, inside looked pretty new, outside looked like we were watching My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah.
And it was a shitty little fucking town. So where is this giant wealthy's family? You know what I'm saying?
I think these must be like Helen's family, Barry's family, Julie's family must be like affluent, like fishing magnates or something.
Right.
They own the fucking docks or whatever. That's where they got all their money. And the rest of the town is poor and they're just the people working there. But
yeah.
They end up walking back downstairs, never seeing the bloody banister they walked right past, still dripping with Barry's blood.
Barry's blood.
Another funny thing, throughout the last few scenes, we get this running gag where we just keep checking on Julie's progress every once in a while.
Right.
Like there's just a quick shot of a blue Dodge driving by another frame, and okay, back to the action. But this is when Julie finally does arrive back at home. And backstage at the pageant, the cop tells Helen she's going to take her home. Oh, no, thank you. I don't feel safe with you. She just keeps pleading with them that she's telling the truth, and when she stands up to leave, that disgusting William Shatner wannabe MC goes, I'm sorry, miss, we'll be needing this, and takes the fucking crown right out of her hands. Oof. Dude, let her have it. She's going through some shit. Or let the cops have it, actually, because it's definitely a piece of evidence in a cold case from last year. But in the cop car, which he's got Helen in the back of, which I feel like is weird, like in a cop car, she's not being detained. That's uncomfortable as fuck, by the way. Have you ever seen the inside of one of the, like the back of a cop car? It's like all hard plastic, nothing but seat belts.
No.
Never saw that in my life.
I don't know if it has. I mean, if you called a cop for assistance, you were broke down somewhere and they were giving you a ride, I don't think they'd put you in the front anyway. You don't see
if there were multiple people, it would make sense putting them in the back. But if there's just one, I feel like...
Well, there's definitely maybe just because there's shit up there, there's usually a shotgun wedged between the floor and the fucking roof, and there's all... I don't know.
Well, we'll get to it in a minute, but it's also a plot device, putting her in the back. So Helen's retelling him her side of the story, and the cop goes, oh, killed him with a hook, did he? Was it the same hook that cut off all your hair? Laughs about it. Man, I can't wait for the fisherman to get your ass.
Yeah, he's kind of mocking her here, and... brings up a lot of the similarities to the urban legend talk from the beach at the beginning, you know.
Well, I love that she feels the need to clarify, no, he used scissors, asshole. She's like, yeah, I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. And he goes, yeah, I've heard this story before, except the way I heard it, it wasn't a fisherman. It was an escaped mental patient with a hook for a hand, to call back to the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But he drives up to a sawhorse on the road blocking their path. That's weird. The parade is done. Shouldn't those be down now?
I'm glad he's up to date on everything going on in the town. Shouldn't he have known this was fucking closed?
Right.
Or why didn't you just drive the fuck around it?
But it doesn't look like this area has anything to do with the party happening in town tonight.
So you think somebody set that up?
Yeah. He doesn't think much of it, though. He's just like, it's cool. We'll take the alley. And Helen leans up and lays into this guy. And she goes, look, you little shitstick Mayberry-ass reject. There's been a murder, and you're going to fry in hell if you ignore it. And I'm just like, shitstick?
Ew.
The cop agrees to put a search out for Barry and call his parents, but still insists he was playing a prank on her. Mm-hmm. What's the obsession in these movies of always thinking everything is a prank?
Oh, kids, Yeah.
The cop pulls up to a fisherman having some truck trouble and gets out to see if he needs any help, and Helen starts to freak out, both because she recognizes the danger and, oh yeah, fuck, I'm in the back of a cop car. God damn it. The cop gets hooked right in the gut, lifted up into the air, and then laid down real nice and gentle-like.
Yeah, fucking cool.
But I guess we'll circle around back to it later, but I want to talk about like the supernatural strength element here, which doesn't make any fucking sense.
It's a fucking meat hook,
It's a meat hook, but this dude lifts this cop one-handed up into the fucking air. He's not a big dude. He's just a human. You know what I mean? Who's already his body's been broken a couple of times.
I swear we see later he kills somebody and is carrying a body just on the hook one-handed too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like I said, it's like that they're using it for fish here, but like similar to the meat hooks in Texas Chainsaw,
Sure.
You like do your butchering, you hang a fucking torso. Not a torso, but you know what I mean?
Sure, why not?
You hang like a middle fucking section of an animal on it. So
a side of beef.
Right. So they're strong as fuck, but yeah, I get what you're saying. But I don't know. You got hit by a fucking car too,
I don't know. I kind of don't buy it. But Helen goes crazy in the back of this car. But the fisherman takes his time pulling the hook out, wiping it off. Oh, what a gentleman. But he slowly walks toward the car until she finally kicks out a window and gets away.
A little too easily here, I want to add. Breaks the window out and gets out of the window in about 2-3 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of thought it was just her fucking will to live at this point driving her. You know what I mean? Like people's adrenaline starts going. You can kick out a fucking window,
Right.
But I'm surprised they didn't do a head-on shot of her crawling out of the window in that dress. Maybe they aren't total creeps. But we cut back to Julie for a second, who discovers in more of her smart girl smarty smarts research, early internet research on the local library site that is, another suspect, Susie's father, Benjamin Willis, who is, are you ready? A local fisherman. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, so he's the guy with the tattoo. That's the guy we killed, not David Egan. Turns out David did originally go out there to kill himself, but didn't get the chance because Ben found him there and did it for him. And then he was the one out in the road when the kids went driving by.
Yeah, damn.
Crazy.
Plot twist.
We join back up with Helen, still running from the walking fisherman through town. Makes her way back to the department store where Elsa's still inside, thank goodness. But she's in there closing up for the night, wrapping up mannequins and shit. And Helen bangs on the door and she takes her sweet-ass time walking to the door. And then, forgot the keys. Just a moment, please. And she walks back to get them. Finally makes her way to the door. The fisherman's closing the gap this whole fucking time. Elsa's got the audacity to give her a fucking, I'm fucking coming, okay? Jesus. Dude, your sister is freaking the fuck out. How about a little hustle here?
Yeah, evidently she didn't see the fisherman in pursuit here.
Which is ridiculous.
Right.
She finally lets her in after fumbling with the keys for a second, and she's like, dude, what the fuck? You could have walked around. The Broad Street entrance is open. She's like, bitch, I'm being attacked.
Right.
And she's like, you're what? That's another fucking problem I have because the fisherman was like at the curb. How in the fuck did she not see him at this point? This place is all windows.
Oh, yeah.
So stupid. But at any rate, there's nobody there now. Helen tells Elsa to lock the door, and we gotta call the cops again. Of course, she doesn't believe her, but Helen almost gives her a fucking do as I say, but it's a do what I say.
Mm-hmm.
To her credit, Elsa does relock the front door. Unfortunately, she's not quick enough to lock the back door, because we see it close just before Elsa walks into the room to do that.
Right.
So Fishy Boy is already in there with him.
Fish boy.
Fish Boy. Elsa locks them in. Dun, dun, dun. But as Helen is upstairs calling the cops, Elsa takes a long-ass time locking this door and lets the fisherman sneak up behind her and very much like the girl in A Violent Nature, does nothing to defend herself, just stares at the hook coming across her neck.
This shot really reminds me of Scream. We see the fisherman rear back with this hook in the eyes of Elsa here.
Right. And it's another scene that was added in later in reshoots, too, because the studio wanted it more bloody and violent. Which,
right.
I don't know what fucking Jim Gillespie was thinking, man. It's a slasher. Slasher's gonna slash, bro. It's not even much, too. It's like just a little baby splash across the window.
Right.
Nothing crazy.
So Helen hears that her sister Elsa screamed here, so she knows she might be next, huh?
Yeah. First reaction, good riddance. Second, oh shit, my sister's dead and I'm still in danger.
Right. So in typical fashion, she heads downstairs, calling her name, looking around, announcing where she is exactly.
Yeah, and we get a great shot, too, of the fisherman heaving Elsa's dead body across the room.
Right.
Boy, if I had a nickel for every time I had a dream of dragging Bridget Wilson off into my cave lair.
With a meat hook?
Not dead. No. Not dead, though. But Helen comes downstairs and hears Fishy hanging out under one of the goddamn plastic sheets Elsa hung all over these mannequins.
Instead of fucking investigating, she should have just ran out the fucking door.
I mean, yeah, but this is fucking creepy as hell. She stares at one of these mannequins, which is a perfect fucking setup for this. And she's got a moment where she's like, maybe not. Please don't be a fisherman. Oh, fuck, it's a fisherman.
Yeah.
And he jumps out at her, tackles her to the ground like the fucking poor guy on the pier earlier. That poor old dead man. But man, also poor Sarah Michelle having to fucking finish out the whole third act of this movie in that dress and heels, man. She gets away from him and he stands up and throws the plastic sheet off of himself. She runs into the back room where she encounters a locked door. But she looks to her left and sees her poor sister slumped over the toilet, dead as fuck.
Damn.
Man, how are you going to do that to Miss Veronica Vaughn?
Throw her head in the toilet.
Helen sees the fisherman coming, though, so no time to react to that. She jumps up on this platform and starts pulling this rope and pulley system. Wonder what that button does.
Yeah, it's just like a little elevator. I don't think it was literally made for people. It's just to move boxes up to the different stories in this place. But kind of convenient, huh?
Yeah, and this is the cleavage shot, by the way, directly overhead, straight down the front of this dress, like that bunches on top to make sure it can open up nice and wide for this one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you don't like blood, but you like young boobies, do you, Mr. Gillespie?
Yes.
No, I don't want to fucking tarnish any reputations here. The reports I heard were that he was great to work with, whatever. But I noticed she has kicked off the heels at this point. Good move, for sure.
Right.
Turns out the pulley is like a dumbwaiter system, like you said, and the platform she's standing on starts to raise her back upstairs, which the fisherman tries to swipe at her little footsies a couple times, but can't quite reach her, and he slowly heads back upstairs. Now look, as soon as you see him start to head that way, that's when you start pulling on the other rope that takes you back down so you can get away when he's distracted for a minute. But that's not what she does. Helen finally makes her way up to the attic where there's fucking nothing but mannequins for some reason.
Right.
What the fuck are you doing at this department store? You couldn't fit that many mannequins on the main floor. Why do you have all these?
Yeah, she gets cut off immediately too. It's she's got no like leeway ahead of this motherfucker.
The fisherman's right there to greet her, of course. So she goes out a window for the second movie in 1 year and falls down onto a big old garbage heap.
Yeah, and she's fine.
Well, she does take a minute to come to her senses and finally gets up to run away. Meanwhile, Julie runs into the theater where the pageant was being held. So they're like 2 blocks away from each other at this point.
Right.
And Helen just runs through alleys for a minute, kind of feeling like she's gotten away from the killer. But she starts to see fireworks and follows them out to the street.
The parade, man.
Where she hears the marching band playing. So she runs toward it, but then stops, seriously like 20 feet from safety for no reason whatsoever.
Just to check one more time, I guess. Yeah, I said that too. Like, you were fucking good.
But that gives the fisherman time to step out behind her and push her behind some tires so he can kill her with some privacy.
Dude, he fucking popped up like Candyman.
But if anyone had simply turned their eyes to the left, not even their heads, just their eyes, they definitely would have seen them.
Right.
But alas, Helen is no more.
Yeah, they have flashing lights going on while he's killing her here, and there's a bunch of tires, so it's almost like this is
fireworks.
Right, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, ends up being fireworks in the sky.
Right,
They're supposed to be creating that, but
which is also a really cool fucking shot.
I was going to say, yeah, really cool effects. The tires were kind of funny to me, you know? Like, so this town has this parade going by, and there's this shitty fucking alley that's got like 800 tires in it, you know?
I was going to say, this town is very organized. Okay, so you go to the department store attic, that's where we keep all of our mannequins. You go to the alley, this is where we keep our tires. But we cut back to Jules making her way through the crowd and then gets the idea to go see Ray on his boat.
Now she sees a little light on the boat so you can see somebody's out there.
Right, yeah. So she gives him the news that the guy they ran over was not David Egan, but Ben Willis. He killed David. Problem is, when they killed him, He didn't die. Dun, 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 stubborn bastard. But Ray gets real creepy for a second here. He's like, come aboard, first mate. Come inside. Let the captain take care of you. And she's like, nah, we got to find Helen and Barry. And he's like, yeah, okay, we will. Let's just kick back for a minute, baby. Get a little wave therapy in. And she takes his hand for a second, but then her head snaps to the back of the boat where she sees it's the name, the Billy Blue.
Yeah, what the fuck? So now,
done.
Is it Ray?
That's what she thinks. She's
Right.
like, oh my God, it's you. You went to Missy's. You're the friend. You're the fisherman. She fucking runs away.
Right.
And he runs after her to try and explain, but he gets fucking clotheslined by some dude and dropped like a sack of potatoes.
By God, a clothesline from hell.
And Julie asks for help, and he's like, it's all right. You just settle down now, miss. Easy, child. And Ray starts to stir, and the guy yells at her to get on the boat. Hurry. He leaves Ray behind and unties his boat from the dock. And that's when Julie sees the cabin on this boat has one of those damn fisherman hats in it.
Well, fucking yeah.
But of course it doesn't. What doesn't make sense is the fact that it's also got a ton of newspaper clippings all over the walls about the events surrounding the town we've been following, as well as pictures of Julie and her friends in her car and shit. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, he's been
Ran
spying.
right into the arms of the killer. Damn.
Yeah, holy shit.
She tries to sneak out a back door, but no luck. It's locked. That's when he comes in asking, you in some kind of trouble, child? She's like, yeah, I'm in a lot of trouble. And Ben Willis picks up the little spinny trinket that David had in the beginning. So he's got trophies for all his kills, actually.
Confirmed.
And he goes, oh, that's such a shame. It's the 4th of July. Kids like you should be out having fun, drinking, partying. Just like my Susie should be.
Running people over.
But then, yeah, he adds
getting away with murder. Yeah, he's fucking pissed.
Things like that. And she identifies him, and he goes, good, you've been doing your homework too.
Right.
And she runs out of the cabin and sees Ray across the water, but then Ben steps out of the cabin with his signature hook, and she kind of keeps running back and forth for a second to give us lots of shots of her bouncing all over the place. But each time, hello, guess what? You're on a boat, motherfucker.
Yeah, not very big.
And you only have like 4 steps at full stride, and the path you're on is just a half circle, so Ben just keeps stepping back and forth to block the path.
I think I like Ben without the slicker. Like his reveal here with the fucking hook is pretty good to me.
I disagree. I don't like it at all, man. I'll touch on it in my wrap up, but luckily Julie spots a box of boat stuff with a flare gun inside, and we cut back to Ray for a second. He's woken up and found a boat to try to catch up to him. Julie loads the flare gun, but just then Ben hits the throttle on the boat and sends Julie backwards, throwing the gun behind her and over the side. God damn it.
Yeah, dude, nice. Yeah, he like smirks at her.
Yeah, like, he looks out of the cabin at her and just kind of grins like, you son of a bitch.
Nice try.
We get a shot of the back of the boat, and it's called the Sweet Susie, by the way. And Ray fires up his tiny boat, and the chase is on. Julie decides for some reason to climb down into the belly of the boat and slams a grate down on top of her, and she's like trying to hold it down while Ben keeps swiping this hook at her. Mm-hmm. So that's not going great.
Yeah, this is where that room also would fill up with ice, and they would be tossing fish that they catch down into there to keep it cooled as they're traveling back.
Right.
Just so we're all...
That's when Ray makes his way to the boat and jumps off onto it like fucking James Bond.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Ben notices and leaves Julie alone for a minute, and the second Ray climbs onto the boat, there's Ben right there to welcome him aboard.
Yeah, time for a little dance.
And he's like, look at my hook, you like it? Well, I don't understand the killer always like holding up the instrument of death. Is it just for theatricality? 'Cause it always turns up, that's what fucks him up every time. Just get the job done, dude. But he swipes it at Ray a couple of times, and Julie down in the hole here, she just keeps going deeper into this thing. She barricades herself in with a barrel, and upstairs, Ray gets in a few good shots. Looks like the tide's turning in the fight a little bit. But of course, as soon as he starts to get the upper hand, the fight is certainly not over yet, but he turns to go get Julie. Like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Jesus Christ, somebody see something through for the love of fuck.
Right.
But of course, Ben kicks him to the ground immediately. And it looks like some machinery accidentally got kicked into motion in this process, and this big rig starts lowering.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was one of the sails, or is that, it's probably the nets, huh?
Yeah. I wasn't quite sure at first, but that's what it turns out to be. That's when Ray grabs a fucking harpoon to fight with. I do applaud this movie's dedication to staying on theme with this shit.
Right.
He stabs at Ben a few times, but doesn't amount to much. Ben gets the upper hand again for a minute. We go back and forth. And that's when Julie pops up and yells at Ray. I fucking hate this trope. Somebody running up and seeing someone in trouble, so they yell out at them, distracting them, and the killer takes that opportunity to get their shot in. Of course, Ben punches Ray off the fucking boat.
Yeah, I was going to say, I punched him overboard.
Yeah. And luckily, the rig that started lowering was indeed for the nets on the boat. So luckily, he's able to grab onto one of those and stay in the game.
Right.
Julie runs back downstairs and unbarrels the door. That's when she starts seeing it being rattled back and forth. So she runs the other way and tries to climb up a ladder, but on top of the trap door, above it, there's a big old basket of rusty chains blocking her path.
Right.
So outside, we see Ray start to climb back up one of the nets, and Ben's yelling into the room where Julie is. He's like, "Open the door, Julie. You've got no place to hide."
Right.
And that's when she sees another little trap door she barely makes it through before Ben hears Johnny's his way through the door. And outside, Ray's climbing way the fuck up this mast. Julie encounters another little door that she can't get open, so conveniently she has to take off her shirt to tie it around the handle for leverage.
Thank you.
Ray finally makes it to the boom arm of this fishing net and starts making his way across. That's when Julie finally does get this door open, and it's just the door to the ice room you were talking about, which doesn't have an exit, it looks like, exactly, so she's just in here to cool off a little.
Yeah, she's fucking definitely trapped in here.
Yeah, she sits down like crisscross applesauce and just hangs out for a second. But then she sees light coming from the other door opening, so she hurries up and closes the ice room door and tries to barricade it with ice, I guess. What the fuck? That's silly, Julie. Stop it.
Right.
But she starts taking off slats and putting more ice into the room. That's more like it. And when she's doing this, she's like uncovering bodies. This is where Helen's corpse tumbles out at her. And then when she backs up, she puts her hand right on top of Barry's face. But Ray has finally reached the deck of the boat again. He hears her screaming and looks up to see the hookman round in the corner, so he climbs up above not to get spotted by Ben.
Yeah, dude. For the first time, he's actually planning what he's about to do.
Right.
You know?
And that's when Ben comes around to pull the trap door up that Julie's directly under, sending her into hysterics. But Ray is there to save the day. He swings a big hook right into Ben's face, knocking him down.
Yeah, that big pulley swing, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Reminds me of fucking Home Alone when they catch that fucking paint can in the face.
The big fucking lead bar, He comes down to help Julie out of the hole, but of course, that's when Ben pops up. His eyes pop open like Bob Barker and Happy Gilmore, and he comes back for more.
Yeah, ridiculous.
He hits Ray with his hook, but doesn't hook him, just hits him. And then he finally corners Julie and says, "Happy 4th of July, Julie." She's like, "I'm sorry, okay? It was an accident." And he's like, "Yeah, I know all about accidents, but let me give you some advice. When you leave a man for dead, make sure he's really dead." Dun, dun, dun.
Great advice.
He raises his hand to bring the hammer down and accidentally gets it caught in some rigging. Ray springs into action and pushes a lever that wraps it around Ben's hand and hauls him up into the fucking crow's nest, basically. And at the top, his hand gets cut and fucking
severed.
Yeah, severed by this fucking pulley. And that's fucking more like it.
And then fucking launches him out over the side of the boat and
he falls back down halfway, but his leg gets caught in another rope. And it's not until it releases from the pulley that he gets swung over the side and out to sea. But he's just kind of hanging upside down for a minute and swinging back and forth on the boat.
Oh shit, his hand's caught. Quick, pull the fuck you lever. And it just pulls him up.
Ejecto-cito, cuz.
Pulls him up, cuts his fucking hand off, and then proceeds to launch him 100 foot out into the fucking water.
So yeah, he launches out to sea, but do we think he's dead? Of course not, but they do.
Right.
So they hug and celebrate, and the boat sails off into the night. We cut to the sea police scouring this thing for evidence while they stand off to the side bitching about, "My God, can you believe it? We never killed anyone. What a fucking jip."
Right.
And Ray goes, "I know. Look, the guilt was killing me. That's why I went to see Missy. I'm sorry I didn't tell you. I wanted you back. I couldn't lose you again. I love you, Julie. No one gets me the way you do." Okay, so is that why you fucked Missy?
Yeah, I was kind of confused. Okay.
She heavily implies while Julie is there that they had a thing.
So he felt bad, went over there to come clean, but instead fucked his sister.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for laying that out for me.
Julie says, "No, it's okay. I feel the same way." And that's when the sheriff walks up and asks him, "Do you have any idea why this man might want you dead?"
Yeah, no.
Nope, sure don't.
Nope, I don't.
Didn't do a damn thing, Sheriff.
Sheriff, I didn't kill anybody.
I didn't kill anybody. One of the other cops yells out that they're about to pull the net up, and all that's in it, unfortunately, is the hand still holding the hook. Which is a direct callback to the original, I think, version of that urban legend.
Okay.
The sheriff goes, "Oh, don't worry, the body will turn up. They usually do. Usually.
Wouldn't that be the opposite? How many bodies do you find out in the the water just washes it all away?
I mean, you got the hand. Just take some fingerprints. It'll be okay. We cut to 1 year later where Julia's back at college, and now she's made the dean's list. Sounds like her college academic troubles are over. She's on the phone with Ray telling him she'll come see him in a couple weeks, and she can't wait, and she loves New York, but of course she loves him more.
Yeah, she's got a little hand towel to cover herself in the shower.
Dude, basically, Jesus Christ. She's walking through the showers in nothing but a towel that's severely low cut on her chest.
Yes.
I'm telling you, man, it's her calling card.
She says something to Ray about, you're going to ravage me in 2 weeks.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Nice.
She turns on the shower and her roommate yells in that she's got some more mail. Deb is her name, turns out. Ray asks what she's wearing. She's like, a towel? What is this? What are you trying to do? Don't you start with me. You, mister, can ravage me in 2 weeks. Jesus, children. But she walks back out of the shower stall and sees a note that's written in what looks like the same handwriting as the letter she got before. Uh-oh. But it's okay. This one is just inviting her to a party on campus. Psych!
Nice.
Pool party this Saturday at noon, no big. But she goes back into the shower area, and there's a ridiculous amount of steam in here now. And she walks up to a mirror that's got "I still know" freshly scrawled in the steam.
Damn.
Once again, we hear that metal chime of that trinket being flicked, which, if Ben Willis is here, I call bullshit on. It's real hard to do that with one hand.
Right.
She looks back at the mirror, and oh my God, the fisherman jumps right through it at her. Cut to credits, end of movie.
Right. Fucking jump scare again.
Which was such a dumb fucking. Was it one of her like hallucination sort of things? I think maybe it's in the next movie that she starts to have like weird little visions of shit that's not really there.
Oh, I don't even remember.
But yeah, we rock out to a cover of the song "Hush" over the end credits. But yeah, man, the end. What do you think?
It was okay.
That's correct.
I think this one doesn't hold up so much.
It was a movie.
This was something I saw very early on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it kind of holds its special shitty place in my heart.
Yep.
I mean, we're all watching for Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Are we?
Obviously, I was. I would have turned it off a long time ago.
I mean,
you know?
I think Sarah Michelle's doing her thing. Ryan Felipe kind of is too, a little bit. Freddie Prinze Jr. not so much. I don't think.
Max's ass is nice in
Is
this
it?
movie. I don't know. No, I mean, it was okay. Like I said, doesn't hold up for me in 2025. It's missing too much. It needs more tits. It needs more blood.
I mean, like I said, this movie is rated R for fucking what, man?
Right.
There's hardly anything here.
For all the fucking yelling.
And yeah,
Barry.
it just kind of barely does it. This movie goes all over the place. You're back and forth, you know, the deliveries, kind of wishy-washy back and forth, I feel like, but yeah, man, I don't know. It had an abysmal 48% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Right.
And on a $17 million budget, they made out with $125.3 million, but I think it was like the big celebrity names at the time pulling people in.
That's what I was going to say.
People were aware that it was another Kevin Williamson screenplay, and Scream had just come out last year that everybody fucking lost their shit over.
Mm-hmm.
Mixed reception from critics, but popular enough to stay number one at the box office for 3 straight weeks. Be parodied by a Scary Movie, although that may have just been a timing thing.
Right.
And it's credited with helping to revitalize the slasher genre in the late 90s alongside Scream, which I don't think this movie really deserves, but that's what they say. It had a few sequels, obviously. We've got I Still Know What You Did Last Summer in 1998, the following year. I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer in 2006, which is complete dog shit.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Dude, it's completely disconnected. It's
Right.
crap. It's fucking crap. There was also an Amazon Prime adaptation in 2021, and then now, in just over a week at this point, we've got a legacy sequel to the first 2 films set to release July 18th, 2025.
Wow.
Are you excited for that or what?
I'll watch it.
That's about where I'm at.
I'm not going to like it.
I'll watch it. It's going to be dumb, probably. Yeah, like, these fucking movies at this point should probably be called something more along the lines of, I'm pretty sure I'm aware of a thing you may or may not have done at one point during the summer. Because it doesn't make any fucking sense. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. It's not last summer anymore, jackass. That was at least 2 or 3 years ago, whatever. I don't know. That's dumb. But my favorite thing about this movie is certainly the setting. I love the quaint little fishing village aesthetic, small town vibes. But we've also got the beautiful dramatic mountainous coastline stuff going on.
Right.
I like all the scenes around, in, or involving water. I feel like that's all incorporated really nicely. as is the fact that they really stick to the theme and everything's got to be hooks and harpoons and rope rigging that everyone gets murdered with.
Right.
Despite there not being really any bright colors in this, we do get a fair amount of outdoor shooting in the sunlight that's really nice.
Yep.
And speaking of the cinematography, I think that's far and away the best part of this movie. There's a ton of really cool, creative, and thoughtful camera work and framing of shots going on here. The way the camera moves and then rests on something is all really well done. I think the acting is fine, mostly. The actors were all young and inexperienced to a certain degree here. Plus, we're dealing with the late 90s where everything had to be about cool and tough and reminding everyone of why they're not as good as you, which really ramped up in the 2000s. But I think the characters themselves are all decently fleshed out and the relationships between them are well defined. All of our slasher archetypes are represented here, which of course is this being the spiritual cousins with Scream and Urban Legend. Of course they are. But I'll tell you what, I really could have used plenty more violence and gore for something Kevin Williamson himself describes as a more straightforward and serious slasher. And as goofy as some things in this and some of the deliveries can be, this movie does take itself way too seriously. And I don't know what Jim Gillespie was thinking, virtually cutting all of that to the point where if those few scenes hadn't been added to ramp up the danger, this is just a whodunit drama, you know?
Right. Would have been pretty boring.
And I definitely don't like the killer reveal. It's goofy to me that it's just some random old fisherman guy who, A, doesn't feel like that much of a threat once you see him, you know? It's like, whoop this fucking old guy's ass, Freddie Prinze Jr. It's just like your buddy Barry did to that guy on the pier. And 2, this dude should have just gone to the police. Like, these damn kids ran me over. What are you going to do about it?
Right.
Like, why not just file a report while you're still in the hospital and call it a day? I don't buy this meticulous planning and damn near supernatural strength and cunning because when he doesn't have the slicker on, all that kind of goes out the window.
Right.
Or off the starboard side, I guess. This movie will forever hold a place in my heart due to it being one of the movies released in this genre when I was in my formative years. I do have a soft spot for it for nostalgia's sake, but otherwise, it's not amazing.
Yeah.
I gave this one a 6.5 out of 10 what are you waiting for? And I'd say this is a better movie for someone to seek out that has that 90s nostalgia or a particular soft spot for slashers, but otherwise, you're fine either way, really. This one's just kind of lukewarm. But if you plan on catching the new Legacy sequel releasing in just over a week, for sure catch up on this, and I still know those 2 movies are what this new movie is a sequel to. Right. So that third one, they're just icing that shit out.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I think that's going to do it for us, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us. We had a good time. We hope you did too. Happy 4th of July. Hope you celebrated it safely. And we'll catch you on the flip side, y'all. As always, dreams are fleeting. Only nightmares last forever.
I bid you welcome.
Thanks for listening to the Cinebites podcast. If you like what you heard, follow us on our socials at Cinebites Pod on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, and review. It really goes a long way in helping us reach more listeners.
You can stream the Cinebites on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and many more popular streaming platforms and YouTube.
Questions or comments? Suggestions for future episodes? Contact us at cinebitespod@gmail.com. If you'd like to support the show and help us make it a better product for you, subscribe at cinebitespod.buzzsprout.com.
Until next time, keep following those nightmares.
Hey, honey, how's your snapper? Not bad, Ma.